right, we are
Hey,
back.
we're back.
Videodrones episode 4.
Episode 4, baby.
Episode 4. We are nearing episode 5, which is our landmark, wherein we will start releasing
Yeah, very
on a
excited.
scheduled basis. And we will
Very
keep
excited.
everybody up to date. The scheduling of that. It will likely be a week
Yeah.
every set. For recording, we wanted to get everything felt out, get the production of everything kind of streamlined.
We've got some kinks here and there.
Yep, we've had several hurdles to overcome, but I think that we've been able to gently Gruber something together pretty well.
Yep, that's right.
I like that I don't go to MacGyver. My mind goes straight to MacGruber.
MacGruber, yeah,
Yeah,
classic.
I appreciate that about my that
the
about
new
my...
MacGyver, you could say.
Yeah, exactly. Andy
MacGyver
Samberg.
for a younger generation.
Wait, no. Will
That's not Andy Samberg. That's Will Forte.
Will Forte, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Andy Samberg was involved with like that. But anyway.
Yeah. Or are you thinking of Hot Rod?
Maybe I'm thinking of Hot Rod. Hot Rod is another excellent one. Wow. So many good comedies coming out around 2008 and 9.
Yeah. Good comedies coming out.
What was it? Balls of Fury?
Balls of Fury, the ping pong movie, absolutely.
The super racist ping pong.
Yeah.
Insanely racist thinking
Insanely
back on
racist.
it.
Yeah.
So today we are covering a horror movie. Sort of. We are covering a zombie movie. Called Train to Busan.
Yeah, I consider zombie movies their own genre. Like, yes, they exist within horror, but I think they are completely their own mythos and genre at this point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would tend to agree with that. I don't think that you can really classify this under any sort of genre convention other than like they do have like tropey genre things in zombie, but I think that kind of speaks to the zombie genre has tropes in it themselves. And,
exactly, yeah.
It adheres to them, but it also kind of subverts them in a nice way. It feels like just a very effective zombie.
It's
everything,
hugely, very effective.
Everything about it felt clean. It felt like there weren't any lulls in it. I didn't feel at any point that I was bored, and it was really tense and really exhausting, I gotta say.
Yeah.
And we will get into all of the reasons why.
So many.
Yeah. So just
many reasons.
some notes on the production of this, or not on the production, but on just the general notes of the movie. I think it really came to popularity like 2017 or 18, kind of like after a couple years after it's released, brought on to Netflix, which it's been taken off of. But I remember back when it's
currently now on Amazon Prime Video, though. I think that's the new service that it's streaming. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it there. That's
in Canada. In Canada,
yes, just asterisk. All of our references are Canadian based.
Exactly. Yeah. But actually, just a note on availability. I had rented a version of it on YouTube. Because YouTube usually has really high quality bit rates available for their videos. So I was expecting it to be in like 1080p, maybe even 4K. No, it was a $5 rental for HD, and its max resolution was 480p.
You got bamboozled.
Yeah, I got bamboozled. Just keep that in mind if you're gonna rent on YouTube. That's like usually my most straightforward way to consume a movie, because I don't need to buy a DVD anymore, and I can just get it for 48 hours and be able to pay the person it's like a third of the price of a movie ticket.
Exactly.
Might as well. But yeah, anyway, the movie itself was released in 2016. It's a South Korean film. Action horror is what it's being classified as,
which I guess is the subgenre that most zombie movies take place in.
Yeah, I would say so. That would make sense. And it has like some moments of levity though, and it's also very much a sad dad story.
Yeah, like very sad dad gang rise up. Yeah,
exactly. Like The Last of Us sort of trope kind of thing. Like, it's about a father and a daughter that have kind of a relationship that's going through some moments of discord. And yeah, it's a film that mostly takes place on a train. as a zombie apocalypse breaks out in South Korea, which is a fantastic setting. And honestly, I have not watched enough South Korean cinema, and this movie has made me realize that. I haven't watched Parasite yet, which is sacrilegious, and I know I have to watch it.
It's incredible. Don't worry, everybody. I sent him a big old list of South Korean films that I recommend right after we watch this. So don't worry. I'll put him on the right path.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic setting. Absolutely fantastic. And I want to go to South Korea now. I want to go to Seoul. It looks so cool. It look just like the look of it. If I ever go to Japan and Tokyo on my dream trip, I'm going to have to make it for sure.
Dude, yeah.
It was it premiered at Cannes Film Festival, and it was like it was selected for some sort of a award as far as I know. And it stars. Now, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I'm going to really try my best here. And if any of the stars of this film see this and are offended by my pronunciation of their name, please let me know. I will send you a written, notarized apology. So the first is the main character, the sad dad, Gong Yu, and then there's Ma Dong Seok, who is who's the husband to the pregnant wife, who's played by Jung Yu Mi.
I love Jung Yu Mi. He's so good.
Both of those, they're my favorites in the film.
Those two characters, that couple are fantastic.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah, they're so good. And then the daughter of the sad dad is Kim Soo-on, and then you have Kim. This is a hard one. Kim Eui Sung, and he's the businessman, as you will as we will rail on him, and we will tell you all about him.
I will. What's the opposite of affectionately? Refer to him as the fucking businessman.
Spitefully. Well, the guy he's a phenomenal. He acted it phenomenally.
He's a wonderful antagonist. Yeah,
he really is. If the more you hate a character, the better the actor is, and that's what I've learned to love. Then you have Choi Woo Shik, who is a member of the South Korean Baseball Furies from the Warriors, if you remember. And he is with On Soo Hee or So Hee, who is another character who's they're like two post-adolescent kind of on a baseball team.
She was the cheerleader or she was
to some effect. I don't
for
think
like
it's
as like a spirit captain. Yeah.
And I guess we can get right into the story beats.
Hop right into it. I do want to say one note right off the top of just like something that I noticed through the whole movie, and this is just it did it so well. Like I spoiler alert, I really like this film. I think we're both going to be singing a couple praises as we talk about it.
Lots of gushing.
Yeah. And boy, like this film so perfectly exemplifies the rule of show don't tell. Like all of the information that you get about the setting, what's happening in the background, what you learn about the zombies and the virus and everything is visual information. Everything is hints in the environment, or is shown through visual cues. There is no fucking exposition in this film at all, I don't think.
No.
Very little. Maybe one or two scenes.
The only tool of exposition in the film, which I don't think is detrimental to the film, is the intercom, I think. But the intercom kind of acts as an unreliable narrator because they're being given information by the government, and the government is obviously.
Oh, do you mean the TVs, like the
TVs,
the monitors?
The TVs, that acts as a tool of exposition, but that's lost fairly early on. I'm more talking about like the
conductor over the intercom,
the conductor talking to the other train stations, and the actual intercom over top of the train or in the train. But that's really cool, and it fits, and it's not like somebody sitting there for 5 minutes explaining all of the rules about the zombies in like a lab coat. Like some
Yeah.
guy with a beaker appears from the lavatory bathroom.
Oh,
Like,
dude.
well, actually, I've been studying these zombies for years and years. And
You see, the reason it happens is because of the midichlorians in their blood. You gotta,
Yes.
yeah,
Nanomachines.
nanomachines. Fuck. Like speaking of that thread, like I just recently tried to watch. I didn't finish it. I'll try to watch it again later. I tried watching The Old Guard on Netflix, that new Charlize Theron action film about based on a graphic novel. It's about a team
Not
of
heard of it.
immortal mercenaries.
Okay.
They can't die no matter what. They cannot be killed. They just will heal from anything. And it's like, oh, cool, that's a really great premise. The graphic novel it's based on is good. And but there's a scene where they have a new character and they sit down and they explain their powers. They don't show it. They don't have any evidence as to like, oh, here's why this happens. They're just like, they sit down. She's like, huh, what about this? And they're like, oh, yes, this would happen. And they just explain the powers. It's like, you could have just done an Edgar Wright montage where you showed these things. You could have done anything at all to have any kind of visual information instead of 5 people sitting around a table while one person is like, hello, I'm the audience. What about this thing? And then they're like, oh, yes, back in 1849, I was impaled and that happened. It's like, okay, thanks.
It's
Great.
too much. It's way too much. Yeah, like I feel an Edgar Wright montage is such a good way to frame it as well, because he's able to convey so much, and so such a small amount of visual information. Like he can convey a lot with very little, and that's just with images. Like you have, like, let's say at World's End, where with like the alcoholism montage kind of thing. Like he gets through that.
Spoiler warning for everything that we talk about, even possibly the things we aren't talking about in the episode. Just so everybody knows, spoiler alert across the board.
I'm gonna spoil Shaun of the Dead in this for sure, because I have some there's a moment in this that I feel like is very similar to
I drew quite a few comparisons to Shaun of the Dead as well. Yeah.
And it's my favorite zombie movie. I'm not huge into the zombie genre. Like I've watched a lot of them, but Shaun of the Dead is by far my favorite, and I think that's I don't know if that's a plebe opinion or not, because I'm not informed enough, but it might be. Who knows? But yeah, I'm probably gonna spoil Shaun of the Dead. But yeah, just in terms of like the Edgar Wright montage in World's End, in the beginning, they're able to like convey the like moments in the bar or in the pubs, like as they're going along very quickly, and it's able to seem like they were there for a long time, because you have like all of this being conveyed in like a 15-second montage. I like that a lot, and I think that this movie, you're absolutely right, it shows way more than it tells, and
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really good. And I imagine that might be due to the fact that Western audiences are often unwilling to give movies that require subtitles a chance. Like you do have to pay attention to the subtitles, but honestly, it's not like imperative. You could probably watch this movie without any subtitles as an English speaker and be able to follow the beats of the story very easily.
The flow is excellent to this. And it's just so much of it is just visual cues, action scenes, a lot of just running away and escaping desperately. It's you can really gather most everything just from the energy and the intention of the actors, like what emotions that they're portraying. You can, if you've seen a zombie film, you can probably get an idea for what kind of beat you're in. If you're familiar with the genre.
What is like happening.
Exactly.
And real.
I mean, it's hot. It's hot out here, everybody.
It is hot. It is too.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the story beats. I have taken seemingly more notes of the story. So I will be taking episode here as far as I can tell with the story beats.
Please do. Please feel free.
It seems that most of my notes aren't like opinion based or extrapolating on information, and more me just kind of being awe. All of this data is coming and it's so awesome. So if my opinion isn't the most critical and it's just kind of going through the beats, it's because I think it's just really all well done. I think it's all really just very good. So opening shot, It's a quarantine zone. There's a quarantine zone with a car trying to go through it, and a farmer who is pretty much yelling at a military guard who's all dressed in a hazmat, and he's saying, "We have to get through. Like I have a farm on the other side." He's just like asking him essentially what's happening, and the guy says that there's a small leak at a biotech company. A small leak at a biotech company does not sound good.
No.
There's no sort of leak at any sort of biotech company has ever been good. Anybody who's watched a Marvel movie attests to that.
Absolutely.
So right off the bat, we're shown Chekhov's gun. We're shown the gun, and the gun is this virus. It's gonna
mysterious leak at this mysterious biotech company.
Yeah, and it's just gonna tear through. It's gonna tear through everything. Essentially,
it pans over to a picture of Umbrella Industries from Resident Evil.
Yeah, exactly.
We see the red and white Umbrella logo, and we think, "Huh, interesting." No, that's not real. But
I would love that. That would be a cool.
Too.
That would be a cool little. I guess the Resident Evil movies. They've got that locked down. Sons of
they don't want to let people just use that reference willy nilly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this guy gets let through the quarantine zone, and while he's driving, he accidentally hits a deer. And he gets out of his car, and the deer is mangled. It's
very clearly dead.
Yeah, dead. Big old dead deer. Big old blood skid on the ground, and eventually he just walks over to it. He gets out of his car and he says, "This is such a shit day." I love the way that the language sounded. Like that's such a cool way to say this is such a shitty day. I want to learn that. I want to learn that. I want to have that in my lexicon.
Sure.
And the guy gets back into his car and he drives off. He doesn't move the deer, which is kind of inconsiderate. If he hit an animal, move it off to the side of the road because it's gonna make another car crash.
He really took off, and it was not a cool move.
Such a shit day. You can't handle it.
That was not a pro gamer move.
Yeah, not a pro gamer move. God willing, a motorcyclist doesn't go barreling down that road.
Yeah.
And then in a very good example of CGI, I think this was an excellent example of the CGI in this film. The deer reanimates in a very kind of creepy.
Yeah, very like what the sound design in this film is upsetting.
Yeah, it really is.
Lots of bones cracking, lots of things moving ways they shouldn't. Joints, thing like arms and things just in weird positions they shouldn't be in, but are still moving and still like trying. That
girl in the beginning, like just in the beginning scenes of the train, is really, really unsettling.
Another great overarching note that I have to say, huge kudos to the stunt performers in this film.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. The amount they just go for it. Like everybody in this, the way they move when they are the zombies, the way they are going about things like the dog piles, the climbing and stuff. Like the stunt performers in this film, I hope everyone's okay.
Yeah.
Because they are academic professionals and they were doing some crazy shit.
They really were.
Very convincing.
And
very compelling.
We should clarify what kind of zombie this is. This is like a 28 Days Later type zombie, which is way harder to portray in terms of acting, and as far as I can tell. And everybody in this film, I think, does an excellent job. I think it gets a bit screamy at some points, but I mean, it's a zombie apocalypse. People scream.
These are very much like the World War Z zombies, like the Brad Pitt like World War Z zombies. Like they are like forming walls of themselves, like big like tides of zombies pouring through windows and shit. Like at one point they're like climbing together and like chain linking each other and stuff. Like very, very much sort of that all-encompassing horde of flesh that we've established in films like World War Z and 28 Weeks Later and stuff.
But one of the things that we really got to give credit to is the fact that almost all of those actors were real actors. Almost all those zombies were real actors. It's
insane.
Like I feel in The Walking Dead, they'll have a row of zombies in the front, and then the back ones will be opposites of people that they've just shot on a green screen for like 5 minutes at a time and just splice in their bodies on a chroma key or whatever.
The
But
hordes are in Walking Dead are very obviously mostly CGI. Yeah.
yeah, and the actors are very unenthusiastic, I gotta say. They must not be getting paid very much. But they have yeah, the zombies in this are like all practical. They're very good. They're very well done. I'm very impressed by them.
Oh yeah, there's like a
Overall.
minimum of like 100 stunt performers dressed up as
Yeah,
zombies
at
in
least.
the big scenes. Like it's
Yeah.
very
And the
very
big
cool.
scenes are big. The big scenes
Yeah.
are very big in
Phew.
scale, like really
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, we're back in I guess we're in Seoul. Is it Seoul?
I don't know if it actually says. I assume it's probably a big city. I don't
Yeah.
know what. I don't think it's established what city it takes place in right at the beginning, where
Oh.
with the main character, our first scene with him. I don't want to assume, but
No, it's at Seoul.
it's
in
Seoul. Okay, we
Yeah,
started Seoul. Okay,
I
cool.
have the wiki open here, so it is
Cool.
Seoul.
Yeah.
He gets on the KTX 101 at Seoul Station, so I guess it's a famous train. It must be like something that everybody like takes every day or something like that.
It seems to be one of those very bullet trains that's just kind of shoot around the country.
Super cool train. Super cool train.
It looks nice to ride on. Yeah, I would love to chill on that for sure.
I'd take a train to Busan. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. I'll tell you. Yeah. Zombies permitting, I'll take a train to Busan.
Only with zombies. Only with zombies.
If the zombies are good that day, I'll take a train to Busan. Yeah.
You have to book a couple weeks in advance.
I do. I have to make sure. I have to check the zombie forecast.
Yeah, exactly.
To make sure that it's going to be clear that day.
It's like whale watching or something.
Yeah, quite literally zombies falling from the sky at some points. So yeah, I have to be sure.
So we're back in Seoul, and we are in an office. And there's an office guy. He's apparently new to the job. And he's sitting in his fancy office. Very modern, very glass clad. And there is an article that pops up about some mysterious fish deaths.
Oh, do you think he's new? Because I got the impression that he was like a senior associate at this like trade company.
It said in his it said at some point, like before his assistant comes in, he's talking to the boss, and says to the boss, or the boss says to him, "You're new to the job," or he says, "I know I'm new to the job." So he's like talking to his boss, acting as a subservient.
Recently promoted. Okay, I see.
Yeah, I think he's just recently in like a higher up role. And he's a workaholic. And he opens up an article that says a bunch of fish have mysteriously died in the Seoul water supply
in the area around where we see at the beginning the farmer driving around the quarantine zone, like very much that those things are obviously connected. Yeah,
for sure. And the office guy seems to know what's happening, and he instructs his assistant to sell everything. So
he works at a stock brokerage firm, and basically tells him like, okay, get rid of all of our shit, get rid of all of our shares in this company and its associated enterprises and stuff.
Yeah, so he knows that something is coming, and I think that that's something kind of key to remember about his character, because he is quite the bastard. Throughout
very self-serving,
a good amount of the film, and that's one of like the main points of contention in his animus that he tries to kind of grapple with, and he does so through his daughter. So the next scene,
the redemption, the story is very much a redemption arc for this character.
For sure.
In the face of this horrific circumstance.
And seemingly never really faced with any sort of like huge challenge in his life beforehand. It seems like he's come from a fairly like a place of privilege. His mom takes care of his daughter for the most part. So he lives in where his mom lives with him. His home is incredible,
very beautiful. It looks like the rich person's house from Parasite. It looks like
there you go.
Which you haven't seen, but
I haven't seen it yet, but I would imagine so.
When you watch it, expect a lot more very fancy high echelon ultra modern homes.
I really like East Asian modernism. I'm not kidding. So I will be very much into it.
The architecture will be right up your alley for sure.
Big time. I'm stoked for it. I'm gonna have to watch that like as soon as possible.
You got it, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. It won the Oscar.
Can I go on a quick tangent?
Yeah.
Okay. So many when Parasite won the Oscar, so many people complained because they wanted Joker to win, because in their opinion, Joker was an incredibly important story about how we deal with the rich and the poor and mental health and all of these very important social issues. Mm-hmm. And it was absolutely about that. I did like Joker, but
I haven't seen it again.
Okay, but it's very funny to hear those criticisms because Parasite is infinitely more about that than Joker is. It does a much better job at illustrating those exact same points in a healthier way, or in a more interesting way.
Yeah,
and I found that to be very funny at the time. I really kind of lost my mind a little bit.
People, well, I feel like anybody who would compare a DC movie to like a foreign art house movie, it for one isn't gonna give a movie that has subtitles the time of day. Truthfully,
yes.
Like
I think that was a lot of what was under the surface for that. For sure, a lot of people who had not seen Parasite being like, but Joker, and it's like, guys, if you had watched the movie, you'd know.
Yeah, just read the subtitles. Like, just read the fucking subtitles. And I mean, it is apparently kind of a complex movie in terms of social theory. I don't know much about it.
For Parasite?
Yeah, it seems like he's like a straight up Marxist who is like really addressing a lot of class and like racial issues and that sort of thing.
It's I do really recommend you watch it.
I'm gonna watch it ASAP. I don't want any hints as to what happens, but I'm very excited to watch it.
Apologies if I've already
No, you haven't. No, you haven't at all. You haven't at all. Okay. I'm getting ahead of it. I'm getting ahead of it because I don't want anything to happen.
Yeah, quick tangent about that, because again, I did like Joker, but come on.
I feel like both movies can be good, and also the Oscars don't actually matter. The Oscars are bullshit.
The Oscars are bullshit.
Any award show is bullshit. It's bullshit. Why do you care? Why do you care what movie gets a fucking golden statue? Just watch the movie that you like. Just watch movies. If you like a movie, you like a movie. If you like Scent of a Woman, like Scent of a Woman. That's great. But if you're going after an Al Pacino movie in the 80s, that's my favorite movie ever because it won like 4 Oscars, you're boring. I'm sorry. I'm getting heated, but you're boring as hell. You're Greg Turkington. Like I love Lord of the Rings, the Three Kings, or the Return of the King, whatever the fuck. The one that won 12 Oscars.
Hey, no, it's a terrific movie.
Hey, it's a great movie. If you like Lord of the Rings, that's great. But if you're sitting there Googling, what movie won the most Oscars? Like, you gotta really develop a taste more. And I'm getting heated, but I really hate award shows. And I think that anybody who puts any sort of weight into an award show that's based around the opinions of elite, isolated, completely away from any sort of material reality within the working class world, wherein most of these movies are being consumed, what their opinions are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Anyway.
I will slightly counterpoint just to say that like it is nice to have some confirmation if you think like, oh yeah, this is my favorite movie of the year and that thing wins. Best writing or best whatever. If it wins an Oscar, it's like, okay, cool. My faith or my enjoyment of that film is validated in some capacity by this thing that is viewed by millions of people, whether or not it matters.
But can you imagine campaigning about a movie like Joker didn't win the Oscar? Oh my God, it's a travesty. The Joker's being robbed. Like, did you get robbed, sir? No? Then go home.
That is very much the thing that I bugged me the most. I'm sure you saw. I don't know if you saw it, but the guy who was like the quote movie reviewer on YouTube who blew up about the Joker losing to Parasite because Parasite. His complaint. It's very thinly veiled racism. Is what his complaint
stuff.
is. Where basically his complaint was, how can this movie win Best Foreign Film and Best Picture? There's no Best American Picture. award, like because it won. He's saying the best foreign film is the best picture for the rest of the world, so it can't also win best picture in America. And he says in the United States of motherfucking America, and I'm just like, oh, I see. So that's the pat on the head for the rest of the planet.
Yeah,
for the Oscars.
You get okay. So we're gonna have a South Korean Oscars. Now we're gonna have a Ugandan Oscars. We're gonna have a fucking Czechoslovakian Oscars. Like they all have independent movie awards.
As far as I know, most countries have their own movie awards.
Yeah, yeah, they do. Americans have their own movie awards. Local movies. Why don't you go to a local theater and watch some independent cinema and support some local filmmakers as opposed to only going out of your watch like whatever has been dribbled your way. Honest to God, I'm so cynical about movies these days, and I'm at the end of my rope with a lot of people and a lot of movie critics, because I feel like 90% of the time they're not actually saying anything, and they're just, well, the cinematography, like, you're just brushing over all of everything.
Hang on, I'm just going to delete all the notes I have about the cinematography in this movie.
No. No, it's just like general comments, like praising or condemning a movie that don't actually have any sort of citations or any sort of like analytical value. That's why you need 2.5 hours to actually go into get an opinion done. Like this way, I feel like I've been able to have a better conversation about Idiocracy and any conversation that I've had about Spaced, that just through this medium alone. And I think that it requires kind of an isolated back and forth kind of Socratic dialogue. But anyway, I'm getting pissed off. I'm gonna start yelling again.
Didn't mean to piss you off.
No, you didn't piss me off.
No, I know.
I just get in my head, man.
Dude.
Start thinking it makes me angry.
That's what we need sometimes, though. Shit, I love it. I think I don't know. I like it. It's fun to have these conversations about whatever we're talking about, and then to jump into something else, because everything is somewhat related. It's a big giant world of interlacing ideas, and that's film and that's media, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's all valid, dog.
All valid. It's all valid, dog. I like that.
Yeah.
We got to put that on your soundboard.
Yeah, I'll put that on my Twitch stream.
Yeah. Okay, so scene
Where
after
are we? We're in the second
office.
scene. Yeah.
Well, it's
we're in the
third scene. It's in the parking lot as the sad dad is leaving.
So he right before he leaves, this is important note. Right before he leaves the office, he's talking to his assistant, being like, "Sell all of our shit."
Oh yeah.
And then before he leaves, he's like, "Oh wait. What do kids like these days? What do I buy for kids?" Yeah.
That is important to note.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of cold cuts to the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the parking lot has like a voiceover of a sad dad talking to his wife that he's separated from. And he's saying, or she's asking him to bring the daughter out to Busan, which is where the mom lives now. And the sad dad has full custody, seemingly. And his mom takes care of Suwon, who's his daughter. And sad dad does not want to go and do this because he's super overwhelmed with work, or he's potentially expecting an impending zombie apocalypse.
Hard working sad dad.
Yeah, hard working sad dad. But he also needs to pay more attention.
Absolutely. He really neglects her a lot.
100%. And puts her into some very questionable circumstances in this movie, in the train, I will say that.
100%.
But he essentially says, "No, I can't take her out to Busan. Like way too much. And can't do it. Sorry." And she says, like, he's calling me all the time, like he misses me. He wants to come out here. Think about it, blah blah blah. He's trying to work. The mom is like being very sympathetic and very like trying to appease him, seemingly, because he seems to have been historically unreasonable in these types of conversations.
I get the impression he tends to exert a lot of control.
Yeah, and he's being a real jerk off about it. So sad dad is the jerk right off the bat, pretty much.
Yeah.
And we get a sense of that, and it's pretty obviously done I think. And he goes home from there. He drives home, and on his way home, he picks up a gift for his daughter. Obviously, we will wait and see what that is, because it's a good moment.
It's very funny.
Yeah, and yeah, they head home, and his mom is in the living room, and essentially says, like, gotta take her.
Yeah,
you should take her and go talks about it.
It's her birthday. That's all she wants for her birthday. Like, you gotta do it.
Yeah, her, like, that's what she wants for her birthday. Like, that's heartbreaking. She wants to go. That's like, what the fuck? Come on, that's sad. Just please, just take her. Just take her to the fucking, take her to the thing.
Come on, dude, you can take a fucking day off. You're like the boss. Like, just do it.
Yeah, he's a new boss, but he's still a boss. He can still do it.
Yeah.
So he speaks to the mom, and he goes into his daughter's room. The mom suggests he does so.
Yeah, his mom, not the other mother.
Mom. His mom.
His mother, the character of his mother.
And the dad explains that they can't go to Busan, and they just, like, he can't do it. He's busy, and the daughter's like pleading with him, like, it just take me there. It's my birthday, like, please. And gives her a gift. He hands her a brand new full Wii kit.
He says,
Wii kit.
"What did you think I forgot?" And he gives her this present,
and she just holds it, kind of like
very apathetically.
Yeah, and she looks up, and it pans up to her dresser where like he's already bought her this.
Yeah,
so this
there is an
identical.
There's an identical set.
Yeah,
and he notices and realizes and just kind of goes, "Huh? Yeah, okay."
Yeah, like,
it's like, yeah, dude.
You fucked up, man. You definitely fucked up. And yeah, she says, like, well, because you screwed up my birthday present, like, please go to Busan.
Yeah. He finally relents, and he agrees.
Yeah, after like a lot of asking. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, and sorry. So Suwon gets put to bed by her dad with the promise of, or I don't think he promises her yet. What happens is he goes back to his bedroom, and starts talking to her, and he starts begging him.
Yeah,
your kid needs him. Like, please, just try this again. Like, try and reconcile with your wife. And he misses Suwon's recital. Which is
this is an important note.
This is an important note. His mom is holding a camcorder, and she says he had a recital and really wanted you to be there, but you forgot the words. And you need to do better. You need to try harder with her. You need to be present as much. And it was exactly that happened. He looks at the camcorder, and it's a really sad scene. Like, the kids start laughing at her, and then the teacher, like, tries to get the kids to order, but she can't remember the words. And I don't know if
she's singing Aloha Ois, which is important for later on. The song that she sings is important for later on. Yeah,
it comes back up for sure. I'm not totally sure if that has any sort of meaning, symbolic meaning.
I'm not either, but
I'm looking at the wiki of the song page, and it's apparently about the princess of the Hawaii kingdom at the time, and it's a famous song and is a cultural symbol for Hawaii. So I wonder what kind of significance it has. It's interesting that they picked this song out of all songs that they could have picked. I'm
definitely curious. I couldn't find anything either, so I'm definitely curious if that. I'd love to come back to that maybe after the break or in another episode. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that we would probably have to look at some, like, behind stuff, but that's more just like a little character note. I think it's not that significant, like the song choice, but the song itself is significant.
Yes.
So it goes to night, essentially. goes to sleep, the sad dad, and he wakes up in the morning, and it like cold cuts to Suwon and sad dad in the car, on their way.
I love that we are going to affectionately refer to him from this point on as sad dad.
Yeah, that's what he is in my notes, because they said his name once and I forgot what it was, and I didn't want to skim through the rest of the thing, so it's just all sad dad in my notes.
Sad dad. It works. It works. That's his character. It works.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're in the car, and she's holding a Nintendo 3DS XL. Yeah. So he's rectified his mistake. His Nintendo Wii mistake. I guess he went and returned it and bought her something else.
Yeah.
And
big time Nintendo household over here.
Yeah, I guess
really,
so. They're a fan. And they go to bed. They go to bed pretty early, I guess, because it seems to be that they've woken up at like 4 in the morning. Like it's still dark out.
I noticed this too. The train ride to the train, or sorry, the car ride to the train station is like it's seemingly the same time. Yeah, or it's like very early morning because it's pretty dark when they. Yeah.
Getting a buzzing on you. Sorry about that. Sure with that.
Okay.
Are you is your headphone jack in, or your mic jack in?
Everything is fine. Everything should be fine. Yeah. I don't have any issues on my end. Is it still there?
I'm just gonna watch out for it again. Sorry.
Okay. No worries.
Sorry about that, folks.
No
so they are in the car, and they're driving along through downtown Seoul, and they eventually start talking. It seems like a pretty quiet morning, a car ride, and he brings up the recital, and he says, like, why did you words? And she's just silent. She's not responding at all.
Yeah.
She seems like pretty crestfallen, like as they're talking about it. So it seems to be like fairly important. And he starts kind of lecturing her, like, finish what you start. Like you always have to like go through with what you start with.
Yeah.
What you start.
Very, very, very classic sort of like toxically masculine father figure, just sort of being like, I need to teach you a lesson because you didn't do this, instead of like, oh, I should probably find out the root cause of why you didn't finish this thing and address that instead.
Yeah. I should have been at the
immediately
recital.
Is like, I'm going to teach you a lesson right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's very very, to use a buzzword, patriarchal. Oh no, I'm scaring off all of our right winger audience here. God,
guys,
no.
Please don't. I need my sponsorship from fucking InfoWars. Jesus Christ.
InfoWars sponsorship. They can't afford that for sure.
I don't think they can. They can't even afford to keep their shit open.
No, seriously. I'm surprised they can afford their domain website
Jesus Christ.
cost still.
They upped their prices, dude.
Yeah. So a fire truck speeds by, and they like brake really hard.
Yeah. Several. I think that's like 3 or 4, and a couple police cars and an ambulance screwed on by them. Yeah.
Something bad is happening somewhere in the city, and they don't really know what's going on. And Suwon opens up the window because it looks like snow is falling from the sky.
Yeah, this is a great shot.
Yeah.
This is a really, really good moment. Yeah.
I think this was really good. And she puts out her hand, and it's ash coming from a building. It's a high rise. It seemed to be
huge high rise fire. Yeah. It's like 3 or 4 floors of this. We don't get a great shot, but it just, in the reflection of his window, you see a high rise in the distance on fire. And
I actually
really
think
good
that
shot.
I took a screenshot of that photo or of that really shot moment, because it was so good.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, toss that up if you can, because it was very nice. Yeah.
Right here. I love this. I have it up right now. Our cameras aren't on for some reason. Yeah, I have it up right now, and it's a beautiful shot. I love it so much. But yeah, it's a great shot, and they realize that something bad is happening. That shit is going awry, and they probably should get to the train station. So it hard cuts again, and they are at the beautiful Seoul. All of the beautiful trains.
Gorgeous
and
trains.
Yeah, just
If
gorgeous.
if
I
if
love
you're
it.
a fan of trains, you're gonna get some great train moments
This is
in this movie. This is
yeah.
for you.
This is like seemingly up there with Snowpiercer
Yeah,
as like a goat train movie. Like a
yeah,
really good train. Just
quality dystopian train content.
yeah, exactly. Well, this is
Yeah,
dystopian. This is totally
absolutely. That's what I mean.
dystopian. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I feel like this has a lot of interesting parallels to what's happening right now with the virus and the
Oh, oh yeah.
disinformation campaign that's happening in the States. It's very interesting.
There's a great segment there that I have a couple notes on when we get to it,
Yeah.
specifically with the mayor talking. I think we'll get to that when we
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool stuff. It's got some interesting moments of social commentary in there. And it's
solid. Yeah.
It's done in a very it's done in a subtle way. It's not done in a ham-fisted way, which I really appreciate.
Again, so much of this is very subtle and just using visual information to convey messages, and it's instead of being overt and it's very effective.
Yeah, it really is. It's very effective.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got them getting onto the train.
Yeah,
they get onto the train and
they sit down.
This is like the opening moments of like all of the characters that are going to be featured throughout the film. I think we get an idea of the first people who are revealed is the sports team.
The baseball team, right?
Yeah, so we have like a group of maybe like 20 dudes and like a couple of girls. And the girl is flirting with one of the guys who seems to be unwilling to give her any attention.
Yeah.
And it's like a very kind of, I don't know, just like teenage kind of social dynamic, like that sort of thing. It's not worth really explaining. It's just like a bunch of teenagers on a train. And a woman in distress runs onto the train. And really, really in distress. There's this is like right before the doors close.
Yeah. This moment is so good because it's we have like the conductor, like the ticket collector, kind of looking around. He looks to one side, and this woman just like very like it's almost sped up, like runs past him up onto the train. She's like kind of like groaning and obviously very hurt.
And she's still alive too. She's not zombified yet. Not a zombo just yet, but she's very clearly on her way.
I took the timestamp. This is about 17 minutes in, and I took the note of like, oh shit, we're really just getting into it. We're really just jumping into it right now. This movie's about 2.5 hours.
It's less than that actually. It's an hour and 57 minutes.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, an hour and 57, which I was really impressed by because it felt like an hour and a half long movie. It did not feel like Zombieland. 2 hours long feels like it drags at some point.
It does drag. It does drag.
The original one.
I love it, but it does drag.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite zombie movies ever, but it drags. This, it felt like there wasn't a moment where I was like, okay, we don't need any more characterization of this person who's going to die in 20 minutes max or minimum, or maximum rather.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really does a good job characterizing like this opening scene, characterizing like the different people.
And we get the dynamics. We get who's who and why we should care about them hopefully surviving.
Yeah. And we'll see that this movie does not pull any punches in terms of who it spares and who it kills.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Which is very good, I think. And this, I want to compliment like the zombie girl's acting, because she really does put off like a very convincing, like she's very sick and she's genuinely panicking and she's just trying to find a way to like fix her wound.
Yeah,
and
so she hops onto the train and she skirts into the bathroom really quick, and she's just like in there trying to like look at it. She's like, obviously in distress. And then we jump over to the conductor who was just outside, or not the conductor, but the one of the inspectors who's sitting outside. And he's like, okay, we're all good. Lock it up. So the doors close, the train starts to leave, and then you see him. So there's a commotion. He looks, and at the top of the stairs, you see a bunch of people kind of like, they're scared. They're kind of moving down the stairs, and there's some kind of kerfuffle. There's some kind of like fight going on. And I in that moment, I was like, excellent. Like, we, the audience, obviously know what this is, but they do a great job at the beginning of this, just sort of portraying all these people like, oh, there's something weird going on. Like, you would see this fight, and you'd see people acting weird, and you would be out there and you'd think, oh, this person's on drugs, or this person's doing something's going on,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't think anything deeper than that.
Hmm.
But of course, they do a great job playing with us, the audience, knowing like, oh, these are fucking zombies, and shit's about to get really crazy.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that there's a dramatic irony that they're employing there, because there's
Mhm.
like in the trailer, it's very clearly a zombie movie. They're not advertising it as any other than a zombie movie. There's no
Yeah.
misinformation, and there's a tension in knowing that these are zombies, but you don't know for sure, but but the
Yeah.
characters don't know, because they it's not really explicitly said, but it's coming. It's just
Yeah.
the way that they build tension, very very effective. I like it a lot. Yeah. Oh, so they have the businessman approach the conductor. And the businessman approaches the conductor and says someone odd got on. Someone odd.
Yeah. No, not the conductor, but one of the like stewardess for
Attendants.
One of the attendants. Yeah.
One of the attendants, they go to open up the door, and you assume that this is the same bathroom as the bathroom that the zombie lady. So they like kind of creepily open up the door with the music kind of tensing up, and then all of a sudden it's a homeless guy, or what presumes to be what it seems to be presented as a homeless.
Yeah. Someone down on their luck. Yeah.
Who's speaking very erratically about they're all dead. Keeps on repeating, they're all dead. Everyone's dead. They're all dead. So he's obviously seen something that the others haven't seen during the night that he presumably slept on the street the night before. And the businessman looks at Suwon, who goes to see what the commotion is, and he says, "Go to school. This is what happens if you go to school.
Go to school, or you'll end up like this guy."
Yeah, and
just like what a gross classist thing to fucking say.
Big asshole.
And,
the guy's
big right away.
The guy's just such a piece of shit. The first line or the second line that he says is something really just objectively abhorrent. And the Suwon says something like
she slaps back at him.
Yeah, she does. She was like, my mom says anybody who thinks that is a bad. And he says, well, obviously your mom didn't go to school. And then walks off.
Your mom
all
didn't
jauntily.
go to school either. No, he says, your mom didn't go to school either, and then he pats her on the head and then walks away. Just like super fucking, what a douchebag.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah.
I don't like this guy. I don't like him at all. He's the actor once again, brilliant in portraying the biggest
asshole. Does a great
asshole.
job at making me want to just rip his face off the entire movie.
Yep, pretty much. And okay, so Suwon goes to investigate. So then that scene happens. Yeah. And then the next scene is with the female attendant.
Who the zombie girl is back.
Yep. The zombie girl is in there. We should kind of explain the layout of the trains. There's
a little bit.
There's the car in the middle, and then there's a vestibule or in between cars. And that vestibule has a glass window or a glass kind of door. So it's not very strong, but it does the job. And it's used in effective ways in the film, I think, and they utilize the environment, the materials that the environment is created in a very effective way.
If you've seen Snakes on a Plane, you kind of get the gist. This is of course an infinitely better film.
I would say so. So the attendant finds the woman in one of the vestibule cars. This poor attendant, probably totally fine person, just happens to be the first one to go. Just the first one to go. It is what it is. There always has to be the first one to go. As nice as they are in a zombie movie, there's no playing around. So what happens. It's 28 days later. Pretty much.
This is a very quick sort of zombie virus. Like this, it the first zombie proper we see is this woman who gets on the train,
Yeah.
and from the point at which she got bit on her leg to the point she turns, I would say is no more than like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
less. Like
yeah,
the time that it takes to actually get infected with this disease to be a minuscule, like absolutely
incredibly
nothing.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you die, it immediately takes you over. Like within 3 seconds, you're back on your feet running at somebody.
Yep.
So in this sense, they very much are trying to go for sort of a World War Z sort of thing. I don't. Then again, I'm trying to think of the timing. I don't know which one came first of those films. I think maybe World War Z might have come after this. In which case,
Quick coup, because
this
that
is
would be interesting.
yeah.
2013. So train
Was World War Z?
after.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so they're going for a World War Z thing where, like, in that movie, you get bit no matter what, and in like 4 or 5 seconds, you're a zombie. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're still alive or not.
With this movie,
Um,
it's kind of unclear.
it's in the
But
middle a little bit,
yeah, but it seems to be pretty quick. Like
pretty
it's,
quick.
I guess Shaun of the Dead, like pretty similar to Shaun of the Dead. Like the people
Yeah,
don't die, like they just turn.
yeah,
Like sometimes, like in The Walking Dead, die, and then you're dead for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then you come back. So
yeah,
like there's a buffer time. But with
yeah,
this one, the are different.
yeah.
Um,
Which I'm always every zombie movie, I'm always very curious to see how they're going to go about it
yeah,
because just like with vampires and werewolves, there was so much lore to play with zombies that there is a lot that you can do to sort of like manufacture the setting to fit whatever specific narrative, whatever specific style you want to go for,
yeah,
which is very interesting.
and every evolution of genre is additive. Like
Yes.
everything that you can change and figure out a different way is additive because
Mm,
every one of those zombie movies is kind of a mishmash of a bunch of different influences a lot of
right.
the time. So you have a lot to work with that, I think. And
Yeah.
it's good. I think that this is a very effective zombie movie. I don't think that there's many other more effective zombie movies. I love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
Um, so the poor train attendant about to get smoked, as I have in my notes. It's so painfully obvious. She really, in a panic, radios to get the chief into the area, which
Hmm.
I assume is the person the business spoke to.
Yeah. The head of the attendants. Yeah.
Yeah,
The chief.
yeah, the
Yeah.
chief.
Officer there. Yeah.
Yes. So the attendant gets like completely just murked, like just in such
Yeah.
a violent and horrible way.
Yeah.
She goes to like grab her and like try and help her and wake her up, see if she wants,
Hmm.
and just bit in the neck, like
Jumps on her, and then
in the shoulder, like the
it
classic spot, like
yeah.
here.
It cuts away from her jumping on her, and then it cuts back to everyone else, and you see the chief going. He's like, "Oh, there's something going on," and people are just kind of like, we see the characters that we've met just kind of like noticing, "Oh, he's running past us. What's going on?" And then it cuts back to her with the zombie woman, original one, on her back, like she's walking through the aisles, like with this person munching on her neck, and
And
she's
she's
just like, "Oh,"
screaming.
screaming, and it's in the train car with a full baseball team. Everyone's like, "What?" She like collapses, and then from that point on, shit jumps to 11. Like it's excellent.
Violence has broken out on the cabin.
In car to 11 or whatever.
Yeah, like
Uh,
and from there on out, it's pretty much we've started.
yeah, like
It's started. It's good
I
to go.
I have a note here. Where was it? About the fucking team. Oh yeah, right. The entire baseball team is fucking zombies right away. Worst case scenario.
Yeah,
Like literally, it starts off in this train car. The entire team gets eaten immediately. Like except for like
almost.
4 of them.
Yeah, I think like 4 of them survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah,
Like
you've got all these hyper athletic zombies just right away, ready to go.
and it makes me way more cautious about trains now because I'm gonna be terrified of this sort of thing spreading. Like if it spreads so quickly, like
Yeah,
so quickly, and it makes sense. Like exactly what happens makes sense because they turn
yeah,
like in an instant.
yeah.
And just kind of backing up, Suan had left
Oh yes.
Dad. She had gone to the washroom, or she had gone to check on the homeless man, and she
Mhm.
hadn't returned back. The violence erupted in the other cabin. as she was off away from her dad.
Yeah.
So all of this starts happening, and it's not good. And the chief, oh yeah, everybody's like sprinting through the train. Sorry, people are like trying to run from the.
People are starting to freak out. It's
yeah.
I love the way they set this up. I love the way it starts because you've got like people who are just kind of like curious. And everyone's sort of like making their way to the back where the commotion is to kind of see what's going on. They're like curious what's going on. And then you have like one or two people who are just sort of running back, being like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And everyone's like, "What?
Those guys are smart. Those are smart guys."
Yeah, big time smart guys.
That's
me.
Then
everyone else is like kind of keeping. They're like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then another person run by, being like, "Get the fuck!"
Yep. There are literal zombies on here. We've seen them. Run, please run.
Yes. And Sad Dad's making his way.
Movie?
Have you ever seen a zombie movie before? I think they only address it once later on with like people looking on Twitter and they're like searching up the keyword zombie. I think this is the only time they address in the film if zombies are like a thing, because that's also another thing in any zombie film. Is like, are zombies an idea in the lore of this universe, like in the universe of whatever zombie film? Are zombies as we know them even something people think about?
Or are they just some sort of like crazy out of nowhere extraterrestrial thing, doesn't exist?
Exactly.
Like exactly. There are some movies like that Jim Jarmusch movie that came out with Adam Driver and Bill Murray and Chloe Sevigny. The dead aren't dead.
Yeah, something like that. Recently, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, but that movie is one that's very, very situated within a universe that's inundated with zombie stuff,
right?
Like way oversaturated with zombie stuff to the point where it's almost normal for the characters to just be going through killing hordes and hordes of zombies. A fucking great movie. I love that.
I should check that out. Maybe we can come back and watch that. On the show.
I think that would be a good thing to revisit for sure.
Sweet.
But yeah, I like the variation of opinion in terms of like how scared people are of the zombie. And Sad Dad still trying to find Suwon.
He's making his way towards the commotion. He's kind of making his way through the crowds of people.
Yep.
Getting more worried as people start running past, being like, "There's fucking people dying."
And I want to note that Suwon during this whole time seems very, very calm. Does not seem to give a shit. It's just like totally normal for her. She's just like,
we should say that fine. Like earlier she wanted to do this whole thing by herself. She was like, "I'll just go by myself on this train." She's like 8.
Imagine that.
Or whatever.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. And she's like, "No, I can just do it myself." Like she's obviously like, I'm mad at my dad. He isn't here for me. I can do things. She's trying to be independent. So yeah, what a fucking movie that would have been if it was just her by herself.
That would be a much different movie. That would be a much shorter movie, I will say.
Following this 10-year-old girl just trying to escape this fucking zombie train, that would be wild. Anyway,
you said the first zombie was at 17 minutes. I'd give her to minute 30. It's more of just like a short film than anything else.
Horrible. The lack of faith that you have, terrible.
I have no faith in Suwon. I'm sorry. She seemed incredibly unintuitive throughout this whole thing, even for an 8-year-old.
Criticism.
Even for an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they do. I will say that's one criticism I do have. They do establish Suwon's sense of independence and sense of this that she's sort of like this just like kind of tough, but obviously very hurt kid. And it seems like they're going to do more with it at the beginning of the film, and then as we go forwards, she is very much sort of a just serving as a crutch for the main character.
Yeah.
In his ability to succeed,
like a companion quest.
A companion quest, exactly, which is like kind of unfortunate. I would have liked to have seen the daughter have just a tiny bit more to do, but
like she was thinking more. She was contributing more to the idea, opposed to dad just being sad dad. He's here to save everybody, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we are. Whereabouts are we? Finding myself.
This is like maybe half an hour in, I think.
Yeah, roughly. Oh yeah. So there's a man that Suwon passes as she's kind of making the cabins, who seems like he's holding the door for having sex.
Yes, we meet the best.
Yeah.
Best characters in the film. I completely forgot. Oh my god.
The best character in the film, our man, Ma Dong-seok.
Yeah.
Gotta love him. He's fantastic. His personality, like the way that he personifies like dialogue and everything, and the way that
this guy.
he's fantastic, and he's the biggest badass in the film.
I was obsessed. He was amazing.
Yeah.
My boy's fucking MMA fighting zombies the whole time. He's a fucking beast. This guy's
that's
amazing.
the thing. That's one thing that I noted. There wasn't a single gunshot.
There are no guns until the very end of the movie. That's it.
No.
Yeah.
Like there's one gun at the very end. And that's the only gun that's seen in the entire film, which is very interesting because you almost always see a character being get out of a situation by just one headshot. The zombie that's about to kill like your daughter or whatever is dead.
The zombies in this film are fucking tough. They are like worst case scenario, very hard to defeat zombies.
Yeah, like leak at a biotech company zombies, like really bad. Yeah. We are. So we're meeting him, and he says essentially like move on. Like he asks Suan if it's an emergency, tells him to go to the next stall. So Suan is even further away from Sad Dad now. And then his pregnant wife pops out of the. So it turns out that he's not actually holding the door for somebody having sex. He says, she's peeing for two in there.
Yeah.
Or there are two people peeing in there right now, or something like that. And it really seems like it. Anyway, it's like a nice little
dumb dad joke. Yeah,
it's a nice little misdirection. I liked it. The guy. Sorry. So there's like a full-on flood of zombies. That's coming on now. The chief gets murked by an attendant. By like one of the main guys, one of like the main chiefs of the train gets destroyed by one of the attendants.
Yeah, he runs in trying to help, and then he's like, oh, and everyone's like, okay, we gotta get the hell out of here. This is fucked up. Something's happening. Yeah.
So the dad starts sprinting to find Suan because there's a flood of zombies. Like there's a shot specifically. I think that this is CG, which I would understand because there's no way to do it safely. Yeah. Like there's some things that you literally just could not do with practical actors.
There are some really good accent. They use the CG as like accent shots to the action for the most part, and it's very well. It's done. It's well done.
I think so. And it's like a literal wall of zombies trying to crawl over each other, trying to get towards them.
Like it's like a tidal wave, like pouring over the seats and stuff. Like it's very upsetting.
Oh, it's really scary.
Yeah.
And the sad dad sprints into a seemingly safe cabin with Suan, and there's a guy, pregnant wife, husband, and the pregnant wife trying to make their way to the door, but the guy is holding off zombies trying to get to his wife. And the sad dad is like, just close the door. Or no, other people are saying like, just close the door, like don't.
Oh yeah. Oh, you jumped ahead a little bit.
Oh, did I? Sorry. Okay.
So yeah, they're in that car, seemingly safe. He runs by, he grabs his daughter. He's now running back, and people are running back. Everyone's getting eaten. Shit's popped off. So he's running back. Everyone's getting eaten. He runs past the couple, best couple, and sort of like just sprints past them, kind of leaves them to their thing. So then he's like, oh shit. So then our best boy, he just starts boxing zombies and like pushing people back. He's like, what the hell's going on? Are you crazy, man? So they start running back, and then Sad Dad gets to safety in the safe car. He's gonna close the door because he's the last one through, but then he sees them running, and then people are like, you gotta close the door, and he doesn't know what to do. So he's waiting, and you're like, okay, they're gonna get saved, but then as they get so close to the door, he fucking closes the door on their face.
With the zombies so far away still too.
Yeah,
like it's far away.
Huge dick move.
Yeah,
they're like they could not have been almost in safety, and he fucking shuts the door on their face.
Yeah,
and he gets there, and he's just like, get the fucking open the door, you douchebag. And so he finally relents and opens the door, and he comes in, and our best boy almost fucking beats the shit out of him, rightfully so.
Yep. And Suan is telling him to open the door as well. This is a recurring theme in the film. Suan trying to get her dad to kind of try and make more sacrifices for other people, try and be a more selfless person.
Yeah. Just what I was about to say.
Yeah, just be like a more selfless person and not be such like a self-serving dickhead. Like he proved to be in this exact scene.
Yeah. And then someone says something, which another great point to illustrate sort of the show don't tell aspect of this film. But someone says they seem to notice us. They can see us, and then the pregnant wife, the character Seong Kyung, she grabs a bunch of newspaper and a water bottle and just immediately throws the wet newspaper up over the window and blocks it. And then the zombies smashing against the window, they settle down and they stop.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
Can't see them anymore, and I was like, "Oh fuck, this lady's fucking amazing."
Yeah,
and I was like, another great example of just like having an idea, doing it, and then establishing more of the rules of the film, rules of the outbreak in this sense.
Yeah, and she just did it too. She didn't ask anybody to do it. She just knew that she needed to do it, and she did it, and it was awesome. And she didn't need any explaining other than that like little sentence. They don't seem to notice us if they can't see us. They can't seem to smell. They seem to hear and see, but they don't really go by smell, which is interesting to me. It's usually the opposite. Like at least in The Walking Dead and that sort of thing. So what do we got now? So the
now there's a lull. Now we're back in relative safety, and there's a lull, and all these characters are now meeting and talking and working together.
And you hear over the intercom, for your safety, stay in your seats, which I really liked. And they kept on repeating that, like, please stay in your seats, please stay in your seats.
Yeah.
So Sad Dad takes the moment to call his mom to see what's going on, to see if she's okay.
This was
hard to hear. This was hard to listen to. The mom is just like really obviously distressed, audibly distressed, and breathing super heavily. And she says, please take care of Suwon, like moaning and like obviously in a lot of pain, presumably has been bitten by some zombie of some sort. Her last words are, I love her so much, but she only wants her mom. That bitch. and she starts like,
she starts like, you can hear her like making zombie noises. And this led me to think like, okay, so these zombies, they aren't dead. They're just, they've been taken over by whatever this virus is. Because I think like what that's told me in that moment was like, oh, this sort of it turns you into like a hyper aggressive version of yourself. Like, because up until that point, the mother is like a very calm and caring presence, but then as she gets controlled by this thing, she's just like, that fucking, she just becomes evil almost.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I haven't heard of that. I haven't thought of that. It
suggested to me that it sort of brings out sort of this horrible animalistic, just evil kind of thing that takes over you.
That's interesting.
Like, much like in The Last of Us, how the virus in The Last of Us takes you over, because you can. There are a couple points in Last of Us where you'll find lore of like people who became infected, and you'll see them like writing like notes, and the notes get more and more incoherent until eventually it's just like fuck, like I gotta kill people. Like it's so you can see that like, okay, they're in there, but they're just gone now. Like something horrible is controlling them.
Something snapped.
Yeah,
something is snapped with it. It's game over at this point.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I didn't note that. I didn't note that at all. That's but that absolutely makes sense.
They play a lot with just trying to expand upon the lore in ways that are not overt at all in this film of like what they're trying to what virus they're trying to put. It's great. Everything is done with a lot of subtlety and not very it's not overly done. It's just very artfully and tactfully done. But the train stops abruptly at a station, and you see people kind of chase. I think this is, before we get to that, this is the moment I think where they're sitting and watching the TV, and they're finally figuring out what's going on.
Is this the mayor?
To hit on that. This is the I think the prime minister, I think, is what he was supposed to be.
Okay, I missed that in my notes. Then if you want to jump in that.
For sure, yeah. So
Yeah.
this is a lull. So these are all the characters meeting and talking. We have the pregnant couple, sad dad and Suwon. We have the businessman and the two old ladies who I think are sisters, or the very least best
It
friends.
seems like they're
Uh,
just like old, like people who play like Parcheesi together,
yeah,
like
they're
that
just
sort
like
of thing.
best friends. Like they're
Companions.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're all meeting and talking, and then we get the last time the TVs work, and
Yeah.
the TVs are sort of like news conferences of the prime minister just sort of being like, there have been violent incursions. Protesters and rioters are trying to
Yeah.
disrupt the peace and sanctity of our cities. We have it under control. And this speech that he's giving is interspliced with people going on Twitter and watching videos of what's happening on the ground. And this very much reminds me of the Dawn of the Dead remake, the opening montage in the Dawn of the Dead remake. One of my favorite
Mm-hmm.
montages ever, especially in a horror or disaster film, of just sort of clips spliced together of just sort of crazy shit happening. People
Yeah.
getting eaten in the streets, things breaking out. At one point, there's a helicopter with a bunch of zombies hanging off of it, very World War Z style, and they fall off the helicopter into a parking lot, smashing onto cars, and the people skateboarding in the parking lot, like, what the fuck? And then the zombies like immediately get up off the car and just start eating
Yep.
these skateboarders.
That
Just
was
like
a great like shot specifically. I like that a
that
lot.
one was so good. That one
Yeah.
was my standout one in that montage for
That was
sure.
the standout for sure. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I was like, these fucking poor punks. They didn't even know what.
Well, what are they gonna do? They're just. I guess they have skateboards. They could go all like they could truck them in that. Yeah, those trucks those are meant to hold up a lot of strength. Those will
For
really.
sure.
It's essentially a giant wooden hammer, but I guess they didn't think that fast. And yeah, I feel like this is interesting to kind of to see in the wake of the coronavirus. Like the obvious comparison with Trump kind of putting out like disinformation campaigns and kind of fueling the fire of social unrest.
Downplaying everything or upplaying the wrong parts.
Yep. Yeah. And he's like obviously being antagonistic towards people who with like more progressive kind of more progressive ideas about like social reform and like economic ideas and that sort of thing. Like he knows that if he does things like banning or removing transgender medical protections or whatever, that's going to cause a huge rift because people are like, oh shit, why are you doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Like you're just doing this as a political point, and then distracting everybody or at least some of the people away from the fact that 135,000 Americans have died within the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Like they went to war for 9/11. They went to war for 3,000 people dying in the Twin Towers. And I understand that has geopolitical context, but like the whole world stopped when 9/11 happened. Yeah. And 130,000 people have died now. And we're talking about what's the exponent of that? Like what's the division of that? I don't even know. I can't even do the math in my head. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like at least 50 times more than what happened in 9/11, but the reaction is not political. It's not, or the reaction is not equivalent to the actual disaster and everything that you're seeing throughout America. It's the hellscape.
Yeah. It's very interesting watching this and seeing that moment and being like, wow, like this was literally 4 or 5 years ago, and watching it now, just thinking like, wow, this is intensely specific, intensely prophetic of exactly the circumstance we're in.
Yeah.
Kind of insane.
Yeah, it was chilling to see. It was really chilling to see like the active attempt to spread misinformation and make it so it's really difficult to discern what is true and what is false. The only things that you can base your survival on are your immediate surroundings and your base intuition. Your base intuition and your immediate surroundings do not provide you with that mode of survivability or that option for survivability. You're dead. There's just there's no other thing that you can say. In Florida, look at how Florida is going right now. You have 15,000 cases a day. That's insane. I don't know, man. Coronavirus.
Yeah, let's not get super into it, but
Yeah.
there definitely is very interesting parallels to draw.
Yeah.
Watching this in the context of this horrible zombie epidemic, compared to the very real pandemic that we are in.
Yeah, and yeah, it's worth noting for sure the parallels and just how this is really true to life. This idea that the government really is an unreliable narrator in everybody's lives,
in almost every circumstance.
Yeah, like you get all of your information, you get your national narrative, you get your own economic and social upbringing given to you by the government. But it's,
the left-leaning libertarian in me has been having a field day lately. That's for sure.
I can imagine. The accelerationist Marxist in me has been like, oh boy, this is. Maybe I don't want to be this person.
If you're listening to the RCMP, this is all for satirical purposes. I have no desire to overthrow the government.
And if you are listening, RCMP, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
You suck.
Sure.
Thank you.
You
suck. Good time.
Bye.
That's all I'll say on that.
Yeah. That's
me, by the way. I'm not implicating my friend Sam here.
Oh no! I also fuck you, the RCMP. You don't need another MRAP. You don't need another MRAP, you fucking scumbags.
Yeah, anyway, pretty much. Anyway, back to South Korea, out of Canada. So the train stops. I guess we can. That was the end of the misinformation kind of TV segment.
The misinformation TV segment. And then I think the only other two beats in that scene that are important is the asshole businessman being like, hello, I am COO of this other competing transportation company, and I demand that we stop in the next town because they say we cannot stop in the next town. We have to go straight through. But he throws his weight around and basically forces them to stop in the next town, in the next station. And despite them saying that it's not good to do that.
And we will find out exactly why it is not good for them to have done that. Very bad. Very, very bad.
Super bad idea. Super bad for him to do this. And also our sad dad, he starts going through his list. He calls the lemmings, the people who have bought stocks from him, the people who he has contacts with. And he calls one who's a colonel, or sorry, a lieutenant in the military, who is apparently stationed in or lives in the town that they're approaching. He says, hey, is it safe here? Is it okay here? And he's like, kind of. I can't really say. And he's like, okay, well, me and my daughter are on our way right now on a train. He says, oh shit, really? Okay, when you get there, come into the east gate. Don't go to the west gate. I'll tell my men, and we'll extract you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
He pulled some strings just for him and his daughter, which is important. Just for him and his daughter, he pulled some strings we're gonna go and get pulled out by a military group in the next town. Those are the two important points in this scene, I think, before we get to the actual place and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, and this is where we really understand the scale of this infection and how bad it's really gotten.
There have been a couple so far. We get a couple nice panning city shots of cities with smoke and fire and shit. Obviously, shit's not great.
Yeah.
A lot of, I don't know if it's intentional, but definitely a lot of what I saw as references to that 2005 Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead remake. Quite a few shots are very similar. Specifically, that montage, and a couple of the sky shots with cities on fire in the distance, very similar, very very similar.
I didn't draw that comparison, but I'm sure it's there. You seem to be way more familiar with that film. I think I've watched it once or twice, way back in the day.
Very problematic, but I love it. I've seen it 10 times. It's one of my favorite zombie films. It's also was filmed here in Canada. Tons of Canadian actors. It's just
you gotta love it then. Yeah, fair enough. But you
watch it now. There's quite a bit of homophobic and racist shit in there for sure. So
that's interesting.
Fair content warning.
Fair warning. Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, I don't think that the zombie movie industry has necessarily been the most progressive. Considering they're known to kill off the black character right off the bat. That's where that trope comes from, as far as I remember.
Yeah. I think horror movies in general, but zombie movies especially are bad for that.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, catch up, guys. We're in 2020. I guess it's 2016, but what can you do? The other one was 2013, rather. But yeah,
no, that Dawn of the Dead movie was 2004.
2004. Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair
That was
enough. Okay.
it's
Well, not fair enough,
it
but
came around the same time as Idiocracy.
long
Yeah,
time
not fair
ago.
enough, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's I still would go back and watch that movie, but I definitely can't defend any of the bullshit that it has to say.
True.
Yeah.
True. Well, I should probably watch it for my own just like cultural knowledge and reference.
I would also suggest watch the fucking opening montage with the news segments and the narration. They play Johnny Cash. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's I watched that movie for that opening montage with the news clips. It's fucking
that's
incredible.
awesome. There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Viewers, feel free to pause the video here and check out that.
Yeah, the Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Opening montage. It's so solid.
Should be on YouTube.
I'm sure it's definitely on YouTube.
Yeah. So the train has now arrived at the station that we've talked about. And
I think we've been going for an hour and a half. Should we pause it here because we're about halfway?
Yeah, actually, this is a pretty natural place to stop it, or to do a quick pause. Good idea. Yeah. Okay, we will be back shortly. And we're just gonna have a quick
big time.
Yeah, but all right, we'll be back with the zombie apocalypse and all of the trials and tribulations that come with it.
Trials and tribulations that reside therein.
Exactly. All right, and transition. And we're back.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that product placement for Aquafina, the best tasting water since Dasani, which was the best tasting water since drinking dirty water out of a pond back in the prehistoric area. So here we are.
Here we are. We love Aquafina.
Aquafina.
I'd love to do like some sort of like mock advertisement. Like we have like some sort of like we have some sort of like interdimensional cable product in the middle, like advertising in the middle. Do you is your splort too wet? Do you
just
want
like a Rick and Morty ad? Yeah.
Do you want your splort dried on demand?
You can do everything with your plumbus.
Yeah,
I love that.
I have to catch up on Rick and Morty. I haven't watched the new.
I haven't watched the newest season either. I'm all caught up, but I haven't. Yeah, I've watched the newest season. It's just been eluding me.
I've heard they're good. I've heard they're good.
I've heard they're great too.
Love this. Yeah. Love the first two. But yeah, back to Train to Busan. We are pulling into the first major juncture of the narrative. And it's the first station. At the station that is.
I forget what the
or
name
what it's called.
City was as well.
But yeah, anyway, they're in a station, and as it's kind of coming in, you see people running all throughout the station, like either trying to escape or trying to get onto the train. And the people who are trying to get onto the train are like grabbed by what seems to be just like a blur.
Zombies.
Yeah, like a zombie that's like completely blurred out. And as they're kind of pulling into the station, people start panicking and start talking to their loved ones or start talking to people who might have some sort of information. And as they're kind of like waiting for everything to happen, Suwon is sitting on a chair, and the two older ladies come into the vestibule where Suwon is. Suwon like insists and grabs this lady's hand to take her seat, because her friend got a seat and she didn't get a seat. So she wanted to be polite. And she's like super insistent, and the ladies are very impressed by her. And Sad Dad kind of brings her aside and says like, you got to stop doing things for people. Like you got to look out for yourself.
Nice things.
Yeah, don't be nice to old ladies. Look out for yourself. You're number one.
It's just us now. We have to look out for just ourselves.
Yeah, it's a very weird stance to take as a father, I will say.
Yeah. I understand, I guess, what he's trying to do in the sense of just like, this is a disaster and like you are my only concern.
Mm-hmm.
But it would come across that way more if that wasn't something that it feels like he would say regardless of circumstance.
Yeah, I feel like this is just being a recurring theme in his in the way that he behaves throughout his life, just completely focused on only himself and his own self-preservation.
Big time.
And people start talking, and they kind of they or the sad dad overhears somebody talking about what stations are safe to get off at and what stations are not safe. And
Oh, right. So I skipped ahead a little bit then.
no, I think we're okay.
Yeah, okay, okay.
I think we're okay.
Just because before was the montage and the prime minister talking, and then this part after they leave this station is when he calls the military guy and the other guy kind of commandeers the train.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
The next station, that's what I got confused because this part's so short because they get to the station and then like, fuck, okay, this is fucked. We gotta get out of here. So then they keep going immediately.
Yeah, but
so
this part in terms of like the geography and the way that they migrate through the country, is pretty important. And they overhear that Daejeon, Daejeon, is the last stop, and the military is seizing the train. And Yosu, Uljin, and Busan are safe to get off at. That's the information that his military or that that he overhears. But Daejeon is not safe. It's not safe at all. So Suwon is kind of on her own at this point and ends up kind of making her way over to the husband with a pregnant wife. And the man with the wife asks if Suwon is the guy's daughter and asks what he does for a living. And she says a stockbroker, and he says he's a leech.
He's a leech then.
Yeah, he's a fund manager, and he says like, oh well, he's a leech. And the wife kind of says like, don't be an asshole, like just stop.
Don't say that to the guy's daughter.
Yeah, exactly. But this guy obviously really doesn't like a sad dad, would understandably so.
And to Suwon's credit, she's like, no, yeah, I know.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what he's like.
Yeah, yep. It seems to be pretty well accepted that this guy's a general jerk off.
Yeah.
And the wife asks Suwon to put her hand. And there's like a nice little moment where Suwon feels the baby kick. And like Suwon's kind of like comforted for a moment. It's a nice little moment. And the wife says like, we're trying to get a name. The husband has to name the kid still, but he won't. He's indecisive. He won't decide on a name. And today I learned that that in South Korea, the man names the kid, and the wife has no input into the naming of the kid. Because seems very, very reliant on his opinion. I imagine that might be a cultural thing. I don't know specifically, but if it is, that's just an interesting little thing to take away. Yeah, what happens after? Oh yeah, so once they get to Daejeon, they'll be quarantined. That's essentially what the idea is. They'll be quarantined, and that's what the camps would be that you were talking about. The North Camp and the East Camp. The North Camp is not safe to go to. The East Camp is safe to go to. And that's what his friend has told him.
The lieutenant that he talks to you over the phone.
Yeah. And there's like this really big like Inception kind of sound that happens as you're going over. They're kind of panning over this city that's obviously not in any state to be in right now. And everybody kind of like gets off the train with this like really ominous music. And at this point you see a couple of the team baseball team get off the train. And
the only ones left. There's like three of the guys are left, and the spirit captain,
the cheerleader,
Jinhee, best girl Jinhee, and they make it off. So they're the only ones left. And we sort of see the rest. All the characters start to connect of who is alive. There's like maybe 50 people left of this train that had hundreds of people on it. And the conductor is like, hello, I'm everyone just please make your way this way. The fucking businessman runs up and he's like, hey, motherfucker, we got to get on this train. We got to get the hell out of here. We got to go to Busan. He's like, no, we have to stay here. The military's here. He's like, where is the military? And they're like, I don't know. They're supposed to be here. So everyone starts making their way, kind of filing out of this train, trying to make their way down along the passageways. You can see there's like, it's like just a straight line, like a corral, and everything's like quarantine tape, like little traffic cones and stuff, just sort of corralling them towards where they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
And Sad Dad and Suwon, they make their way, and he sort of pulls her aside, and he's like, "Okay, we're gonna go this way," and he kind of skirts outside one of the barricades and tries to take her with him. And you see the couple, the pregnant couple, and they're like, "Oh, just forget him. They're whatever. This asshole's doing whatever."
Yeah.
And everyone starts making their way down the stairs and the escalator, while Sad Dad and Suwon go. But then he's trying to get her to leave, and Suwon's like, "No, like you keep doing things just for you. Like I want to tell these people, like we have to tell these people that we're going this way." And he's like, "No, I made a deal, and it's only for us. We have to go."
Mm-hmm.
And then he looks up and he sees the homeless man standing there. He's like, "I'm coming with you guys." He's like, "What? No. Just go that way. Go that way with everyone else." He's like, "No, I fucking heard what you said on the phone. You made a deal. I'm fucking coming with you, asshole. Screw you, man." And I'm like, "Yeah, goddamn right. This guy's fucking about it. He's not.
Yeah, he's surviving. He's surviving. This guy has seen some shit. He already knows.
This character is pretty good, honestly.
I like him.
So, and then they go. He's like, "Fine, whatever." So they start making the way, and you see down the hallway there's nobody, but then one soldier just kind of shuffles out into the open, but he's in darkness. You can't really see him, and you're like, "Oh fuck!" Like right away, you're like, "Okay, this is not going to be good."
Yeah, they've been overrun. They must.
Then we cut back to the crowd making their way down the stairs, and you see at the bottom of the stairs there's like some pieces of like material and like equipment kind of strewn about. There's like riot shields with blood on it, and at that moment I'm like, "Guys, you're fucking idiots. Turn around, get back on the train.
This is a conveyor belt.
Yeah,
this is a full-on conveyor belt.
You're about into the mouths of hungry monsters. Like, you get the fuck out of here." And so they make their way down, and I love this shot. It was so good. The classical switcheroo of "it's safe, no, it's not," where you see this row of feet of all these guys in military and police uniforms, and then it kind of pans up, and they're standing there, and it pans up again, and it finally gets to their heads, and they're all turned around, and they're fucking zombies. This huge horde of military zombies starts running up the stairs and just fucking eating everybody.
What seems to be like hundreds of them. It's not just like a small amount. It's a lot. It's it's a sea of them.
Yeah, just hundreds of troops, zombie troops, just chilling there, waiting for somebody to show up, and then like, "Oh fuck, time to eat!" So they run up the stairs and they're eating
lunchtime.
And then it's a great moment, really really terrifying. And then Sanghua, fucking best guy Sanghua, just he's like, "Shit,"
so badass.
Picks up his wife and just picks her up and lifts her over the escalator and drops her onto the stairs. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And then he jumps over. Like, this guy is just he's 100% just like, I'm gonna take charge of every situation. He's my favorite character in the movie. And they start running up. Everybody's trying to escape and getting up. And it's just a mad dash back to the train. It's just pure chaos. And this is a great action scene.
Yeah,
this is
it's a good chase scene for sure.
Really good chase scene. Yeah.
And all the main characters make it out as well. Like all of the characters, seemingly, like the baseball dudes, the two old women, and the sad dad, and the pregnant lady and best husband.
And
all
the homeless man.
They're all on this. They're all in this train. We're all on this escalator together. So they all make it out, thankfully. But it's like what seems to be hundreds of people being killed. Like, it's a lot of fucking people being killed.
So this is a huge set piece action scene. There's crazy shit going on everywhere. At one point, whoever's left, there's like, maybe a couple dozen people left. Whoever made it, they run back. They got on the train, but the only ones who don't are our best husband, sad dad, and the three baseball players. They're like against these glass doors, and they're like holding these glass doors against the literal fucking endless horde of zombies, just like pressed up against the glass until the glass is starting to break. Lots of shots in this of zombies pressed against glass doors until the glass cracks.
Is cracking. It
happened several times throughout the film.
I think that they used like the materials again. They use the materials that are presented to them in a specific situation in a very intuitive way. Like, they don't. If there's a door, it's not just a door, it's a glass door. Like, there are things that they have to take into consideration in the environment, as opposed to just like locking a door and being like, okay, zombies are gone for X amount of time, kind of thing. It's cool. And I like the shot of like the dad trying to kind of get the lock into the piece, and it's cracking as he's getting the lock in, and then he gets the lock in, and then it's like, oh shit, it's cracking. They fucking burst through, and
burst
it's,
through the door.
oh man, it's like the blood scene in The Shining,
Yeah,
like with the
this
blood coming out of the elevator. Oh, it's
with zombies.
fantastic. Oh, I loved
Yeah,
it. I loved it. It's a really good scene.
yeah.
I mean, this movie is just overall very strong.
Mhm.
But this scene in particular stood out. It was a lot of fun.
Great set piece.
Um,
This and the end are fantastic set pieces for sure.
yeah, and I think like
Um,
the abandoned bags and stuff like strewn throughout. It's a good like detail. It's not like
mhm.
everything is just like left kind of pristinely. It's
Yeah.
just an abandoned place. It's like this place was being used probably this morning, and now it's not being used
Yeah.
anymore. It cannot be used.
The set deck across the board is very good. Yeah, the
Um,
set design, everything is very good.
so the dad calls his buddy, and he can't find the troops, obviously.
Yeah.
And the whole terminal gets overrun by zombies. Um, the badass husband like saves Suan at a certain point.
Oh, right,
Which
right. I forgot
is
about that because he's talking to him, and then the homeless guy is running towards the military guy. They say he's like, "Oh, we're over here,"
hmm,
and it's revealed that that guy's like bleeding. He's like, "Help me!" And all the fucking zombies eat him and rush down the hallway, and then like, "Oh shit!" And then Sad Dad turns around. Suwan's standing there as everyone's running back up towards the train, and the zombies are coming, and there's a fucking zombie just running right
like
for
definitely gonna get her
yeah,
before
like so
Sad Dad can
close.
get to her.
Yeah. So
And
he's like, "Fuck, Suwan." He like goes to run. Right, this zombie's barreling down. She's like turning around, really perfect, like kind of like classic slow mo turn.
yeah,
And then right as the zombie's about to eat her, fucking best guy comes up and he just clocks the zombie in the face
so
with a
hard.
haymaker and just
Yeah.
cracks it and sends it sprawling. And I'm like, this is just they really the hyper the heightened sense of reality throughout the film, I think, is very prevalent, especially with the scenes with him where he's just fully MMA wrestling zombies to death. Like
Yeah.
he's that's it's very heightened. The sense of realism there is they play with it a lot to the point where it's almost comic booky, and I think
Yeah.
it's leads to a lot of very exciting and very funny um act moments within the action. Well, the
Hmm.
tension's still there, obviously, but there are a couple moments where I'm like, damn, like if I did this with a real zombie, I would for sure not have come out of it okay. But
Yeah.
for him, he doesn't. His plot armor is good enough.
Well, there's suspension of disbelief.
Yeah,
You just have to live with it.
exactly. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. And the Sad Dad gets ganked by a zombie as well.
Mm.
And he puts a book in the zombie's mouth,
Yeah,
which I thought was a cool little note.
yeah,
And the homeless man, as like everybody's escaping, saves Sad Dad by throwing a coat over the zombie's head. He throws his coat that he's had on the whole time, and he gets up. Sad Dad gets up, and Best Boy screams at him, "Run, asshole! Like, get out of here! You got to get out of here as soon as possible."
yeah.
So people are trying to get back onto the train as quickly as possible, and like they know that more people are coming, but the old businessman, he doesn't care, and
He's like, get us the fuck out of here.
he's just like, get us out of here, like just move. We have some people on here, like let's just go. And the conductor decides, okay, cool, no problem, that's fine. And
I mean, to be fair, like as this is happening, they're like above the train. There's like a terminal, like there's like
yeah,
a sky bridge, and the sky bridge like cracks, and all these fucking zombies pour out of it, and they're smashing on top of the train, and they're like eating all the stragglers, and they're just like this whole place is like absolutely overrun. It's pure chaos.
yeah,
So to his credit, yeah, I would also be like, let's get the fuck out of
like
here.
yeah, I think that this is a lost cause. um
Unfortunately, by doing that, they are leaving behind Sad Dad, best boy, and the baseball team who are just
mhm.
like, fuck, we go. So they start sprinting towards the train.
Yep, and
Um,
one of the old women almost doesn't make it. The homeless man almost doesn't make it as well. And the train with Suan leaves without the dad,
yeah.
pregnant wife, husband, and Korean baseball furies. Um, so
What?
oh, sorry, no, I'm just I'm
Oh,
confused
okay.
by one of my notes. And a couple of like they all essentially get guarded, like they all team up together, and this is like the moment where they kind of form together for the most part, seemingly. Like this would be in Shaun of the Dead. This would be when they get to the apartment, when they get to the ex-girlfriend's apartment, and everybody kind of congregates for the first time. But they seem way more amicable than anybody in that movie, for sure.
Yeah.
And the husband is just riot shielding zombies like crazy as they're running towards.
Everybody's on the train at this point, and the only guy left is the husband, is best boy, and he's like trying to grab him, like sad dad's trying to grab him, pull him on the train, and he just takes a left turn, and like what's he doing? And he just runs and he just picks up a riot shield and a baton, and he's just fucking decking zombies, just like knocking them over as he fucking goes.
Like he's having fun.
I think this guy was having the best time on the set. I think he had all the best scenes. He was having a great time.
For sure. He was taking some anger out on those, which I liked. It was like totally unnecessary, but it was something that he wanted to do, and he did it, and he lived, so it was fine.
But my child's name is... He's just fucking knocking in front of the train. It's amazing. It's awesome.
It was a good scene. I like.
Finally, he jumps on the train, and they're all safe.
Yeah. So apparently the conductor gets the all clear to go. Like he was planning. This was a little confusing. Maybe he was lost in translation, but like he ends up like going, and anyway, the train leaves. It starts leaving like slightly before they get there, but it's like slow, so they get on pretty easily, and they all get stuck in a lavatory.
Like who does it? The homeless man, the pregnant woman, Suwon. And I think that's it. They're stuck in one of the restaurants, and there's zombies there in the train with them.
The girlfriend too. The baseball guy's girlfriend.
No, she's in the car with everybody else.
Oh, okay, my bad.
She's safe with all the rest of the survivors at the front of the train near the engine.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So there's an announcement over the intercom saying that they're going straight to Busan. They're skipping over the other places, the Daejeon and everywhere else. Apparently Busan is safe from this virus, or at least moderately so. And the communications are really erratic. Like they're very like fuzzy and like distorted, and you can't really understand it. So obviously the basis of communication is going down pretty quickly. So people are kind of getting in contact with their loved ones. People are trying to figure out like what's going on. And the husband and the sad dad, I guess that they had gotten on different cars, and they needed to find out essentially where their family is. They needed to make their way to the lavatories that they were hiding in. So they find out that they are four cars away from their kid and the wife and everybody else who's vulnerable in this situation. So I thought that this was really cool. They go into the luggage, and they find like tape and stuff, and they start covering their arms and the places where that would be obviously bitten up, and trying to protect themselves as best as possible.
A little bit of literal plot armor as opposed to figurative plot armor.
Yeah, exactly. And it seemed, I swear to God, one of the riot shields that they were using was literally a toy that they found, like a sheriff's shield at the dollar store that had riot plastered on it or something like that.
Yeah, they went to Dollarama. That's what they had. Yeah.
I loved it though. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
Very funny.
Yeah. Suspension of disbelief. So it's the three of them. It's the baseball dude, the baseball fury guy, husband and sad dad.
Baseball guy, the one we see kind of as like the main character, him and his not really girlfriend of the spirit team leader.
Yeah. Well, we missed one part. Now I'm thinking of it. As they were escaping to get onto the train, the other two baseball guys get killed.
Right. They get eaten big time.
Yeah, and one guy gets to escape, which is good, at least. And essentially it's the three of them, and they need to make their way through 4 different cars. And this presents itself almost like a video game, and this is like a segment in itself, and this is a really cool part.
This whole part is Snowpiercer as fuck.
It's really, really cool. It felt like it kind of felt like Uncharted 2, like the train level in Uncharted 2 a little bit. It was really cool. I liked it a lot. So they're going through, and it's kind of like this side-scrolling like beat 'em up shot that kind of looks like the Old Boy like hall fight scene a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
which I really liked a lot. And just like the husband is just MMAing these guys to death. It's
Oh
it's
my
a
god,
really badass display of
it's
display
so good.
strength.
He's like grabbing zombies and like headlocks and like snapping their necks and like picking them up and throwing them into the ceiling and stuff. It's
Yeah, it's like
I was like, I love him.
it's like
Yeah,
what like if Stone Cold Steve Austin was in this movie as opposed to the husband, it's exactly what
yeah.
Stone Cold would do.
I forgot about this because he takes off his scarf and the suit jacket he's been wearing, and then they have the shot of him taking off the jacket, and he's got like these bristling shoulders, like he's just fucking massive, and you're like, damn, you hid that really well with that oversized suit jacket.
Yeah,
Like he's just fucking like he's fucking beefy, this dude.
insane. Yeah,
And he wraps his arms up with like cardboard and duct tape, and he just goes to town on him. I love Best Boy Husband, man. This guy's amazing.
he's awesome,
Yeah,
man. I gotta
yeah,
love him. And yeah,
yeah,
he at one point he like he goes full Hulk and like Loki's him. Like
yeah, 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 yeah.
Loki's a zombie. Like he grabs a zombie by like its legs and just like slams it into the roof, seemingly making a giant dent. And I'm like, how have you not been utilizing your strength more effectively? This is
I know, right?
insane. You have the strength of Hulk. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
He's like one-shotting zombies in the head with his fists. It's
Yeah,
like amazing.
it's fucking great.
I love it.
And
I
the
love
music in this scene was also I
Yeah.
have a note here that I really like the music in this scene. So they make it past this car that was like moderately populated, and then they make their way into a car that seems to be filled with the baseball furies.
Yes, this is the second card. This is
Zombified baseball furies. And this is probably the hardest one to get through. The one where they have to use the most brute strength. The baseball guy who's armed with a baseball bat, which would be the most effective weapon in this scenario. He's supposed to be kind of the most violent one in the scenario, as far as I can tell. Like the hitman.
Him and the big guy are definitely the kind of the big fighters here. It's just the three of them, and Sad
Yeah.
Dad's just trying his best.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
yeah.
Husband is at the front. The baseball fury is in the middle, and then Sad Dad is at the back, covering the stragglers, making sure they aren't getting hit from behind. But as soon as they get into this car, the baseball furies guy is just completely frozen, unable to swing on his boys.
His
Respect
former
it.
teammates.
Respect it. I mean, I wouldn't be able to swing on you if you were a zombie, man.
I would be able to kill the squad if they were all fucking
No.
zombies, dude.
No way. No, that would not be a fun time. That would be something you feel guilty for. But I guess you're also
Absolutely.
putting them out of their misery. But
No, doesn't matter. I couldn't kill Jake.
I couldn't kill Jake
kill
either.
Jake.
Maybe Carson.
Maybe Carson.
Maybe
I couldn't kill Jake.
Yeah, maybe I'll kill Carson out just regularly, not a zombie.
Yeah.
There you go.
I worry about Carson being the businessman equivalent of just like getting us all killed because he wants to get out of there. So I love you, Carson. I'm just kidding, buddy.
I'm putting handcuffs on him in a zombie apocalypse. I'll use his survival knowledge and his cabinet making abilities.
Yeah. He's not coming on to raids with us. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we're through here, and essentially this is a quick scene. There's a struggle with both Sad Dad and Best Husband. They're kind of both being overwhelmed by the zombies until they hit a tunnel wherein there are lights passing by, and there's a really good shot of the lights and the way that the zombies kind of react to them. Like they're super distracted. So their main method of tracking humans is sight, which I think is very interesting, as opposed to scent, as I was saying earlier. So as they're distracted, they don't actually need to kill any of them, so they just make their way through without hurting any of them. Which I like the fact that they're reserved in this movie. Like they won't pull punches when it's necessary, but they don't need to go around killing every zombie possible, because it's not a fun act.
A lot of the time they can't. Like a lot of these zombies, like it's very difficult. Like these are obviously very, very tough creatures to beat. Like these zombies seem particularly difficult to defeat. Like he's smacking them in the head with the baseball bat, and they're like kind of bouncing it off a little bit. Like they only kill or like defeat a handful of zombies in the movie. Mostly it's just like disabling them or evading them, pretty
Yeah,
much.
just getting them out of the way because they're like
Yeah.
uncoordinated. Get them off of their path. It seems to like screw up their mental,
Mhm.
like the patterns that they have in their head.
Yeah.
So they get to the next cabin, and the next one is filled with like a lot of zombies once again.
Mhm.
And this was a clever scene. I like this. This was a kind of like a MacGruber thing where where the sad dad borrows the best husband's phone. They both, like, all of the zombies seem to be on one side of the cabin. They sneak into the middle of the cabin.
Mhm.
He puts his phone on loud. He like throws it down the aisle.
Yeah, he throws his Razor phone 2 down, which I felt personally attacked by, that he uses this Razor phone as the distraction. Not
Yeah,
not worth calling anybody on, no, but it's good to lure the zombies away.
exactly.
I have a Razor phone too, so I'm very, very upset with that.
Wait, was it a Razor phone?
I'm pretty sure it looked like when it had like the speaker grills at the top. I'm pretty sure it was a Razor phone. I don't
Oh, say a word. There you go. So he slides it to the other end, and obviously he calls it, and the ringtone goes off. All the zombies go, and then they run over to the phone on the other side of the room, and then they what?
I love that sound effect. The zombies are like, we gotta get him. Fucking like a Ren and Stimpy character. They're just like, we gotta get. Come on, let's go get him.
You need brains.
Give me brains.
But they make it past this cabin fairly simply, and this was the last cabin before the vestibule that they needed to get to. They eventually they reach Suan and the pregnant wife, and or the pregnant wife and the homeless man, and everybody's reunited essentially.
Yeah.
And they hide it. Wait, sorry. So they make it in the bathroom, but I think the glass door is broken to the other cabin that has zombies in it. So they run into the bathroom opposite the one that they're hiding in. And then there's kind of like a nice little kind of moment where they're kind of just chatting and just
chatting in this. Yeah. Well,
they're
stuck there.
bullshitting a little bit. Like it's just kind of like a fun little dude moment. And then I have in my notes the homies. Oh no! So what happens is they go on their phones and they look at their map. They look at the map of the train, and they see that there are tunnels coming up, and you can actually time how long you're going to be in a tunnel. So they were seeing like, oh, this tunnel takes 2 minutes to get through, kind of thing. So they time it. They wait until they get into the tunnel, and they jump into the next cabin when all the zombies are distracted. Adhering to the rules that have been set by the universe previously.
Totally.
And they all jump on carry-on racks, on top of the train cabin, and they kind of like shimmy on through. Longest 2-minute scene of my life. It seemed like that. This was so tense. This was so fucking tense. It was really well done because like if any of them were caught, it would have just been absolutely game over. Like there's no escape. And as they're like on the like other side, there's a purse like or something on the carry-on rack, and the sad dad takes it and throws it to the other side of the cabin. They all get down as zombies run off after they and they run off to the other end, and they're able to sneak off and get down. And yeah, it seems like they're okay until homeless fella falls and causes a bit of a ruckus. And
this part was great. This little subversion of expectations was pretty solid.
Yeah. Because you're expecting the dad to just leave him and not take care of him and not try and help him up, because he's stuck like in between on the floor in between the seat and the seat in front, so it's like legitimately hard to get out. And a couple of zombies have gotten wind of them being there, so they fucking have to like 3, 2, 1 run, which was a cool thing because he kind of goes back and for that this guy is okay.
One of the couple of moments where our sad dad character is just sort of starting to be more empathetic and trying to help people which his daughter desperately wants him to do.
Yeah, and so, I think his daughter sees that he does this, and she's like happy that he does this. This
Good job.
daughter is
Thanks, Dad.
incredibly astute. She's really like paying attention to what's happening around her, which I'm
Yeah.
like, that's cool. I like this girl. um so so the old woman thinks that her buddy is dead. So the old women now also have been separated at this point.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So let's
The old woman who is constantly taking care of the other one. She's with our group trying to make it to safety. Um, and her partner is back in the other car with all the other humans who have survived, and they're basically saying, right. Oh, and right. This is important because then once they grab everybody and they're making their way, right. This is important. Touching this right before shit hits the fan again.
Yeah.
Is the baseball player texts his girlfriend, not girlfriend, basically saying like, we're coming, we're gonna be there soon. And she's like, yes, my friends are coming. They linked up with other survivors, like everyone's okay. There's like 10 of them. They're coming our way. And then everyone in the car is like, or sorry, no, specifically businessman, this fucking
son of a bitch bastard
piece of shit.
man.
From this point on, really becomes an absolute villain in this film.
100%.
He's just like, what are you fucking talking about? They could be infected. Like, look at what's happening around you. Like, we can't let them in here. We cannot let them in here.
Like, how could they make it through all of those monsters and not be infected?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like a risk. They think it's a risk for everybody to get these people in.
Yeah. Totally writes them off. Yeah.
And everybody kind of agrees with them, which is interesting. Kind of an interesting commentary.
We get into a lot of notes about sort of like mob mentality and like people being scared and sacrificing others who may not be any threat at all, but because they're scared, they don't care about them. Sort of, we get into a lot of stuff like that in this moment and going forwards to a very extreme degree that I love that whole scene that we'll get to in a little bit.
That's coming up pretty much next.
There's a couple. We're about to get into two really great scenes back to back.
Yep,
pretty much.
And this is essentially the Winchester moment. Is what that's the biggest Shaun of the Dead comparison that I have. Like the Winchester moment wherein they kind of they realize that they forgot about the basement door, they forgot about the back door, and the whole place is going to be invaded now, and there's mutiny and there's arguments amongst the characters that eventually kind of causes some problems for everybody. Really, really, really bad problems. And so they eventually they're running through the train trying to get to this cabin, this safe cabin.
3, 2, 1, they go, and the homeless man accidentally steps on a can that's like right under his foot. He's like, oh, and then okay, it's a mad dash. They're fucking booking it. They gotta get there before the zombies catch up to them. This horde that's behind them.
It's like a full car of zombies, like a full car's worth, and that's like 2 cars worth as well because the partition in the middle is broken. So that's a big danger. So they get to the car before the other one, before the safe one. And the dad or the husband, sorry, the husband to the pregnant wife is holding the door like as hard as he can, and he's putting all of his effort into it. And as he
fully Hodoring from Game of Thrones now, like
pull the door, and he fucking puts his hand on the open. It's like a sliding door, so this side rather, and then this would be the open side. He opens. Zombie pops its head through. Right down, chomps right down on his hand, and this is a sad dad moment. This is a really sad dad moment. This really got to me. This it really speaks to the characterization of the characters in the film and how they're able to present this narrative in such a short and concise and effective way. Because I was legitimately sad for this character who maybe had 40 lines.
Yeah,
like maybe,
but. It's all visual information, man. It's fucking
it's brilliant. It's really, really, really well done. And the wife realizes this, and so does the husband, or so does the husband, and he's essentially like, you gotta go. Sad dad is helping him with the door. He's holding the door with him. He was holding him the door from the beginning with him. And he essentially says to him, "Let go. I'll do this. You take care of my wife. Like you make sure she gets to safety."
Yeah. We get our classic hero sacrifice moment right now.
And oh
one of the
boy,
better
does it
ones I've
work.
seen. One of the better ones I've seen for sure. This one was fucking brutal.
Wow, it worked. It really worked. And the wife is like crying. She's not saying much. She's just kind of like crying and like, what do I do? What do I do? The husband is just like, go, leave, like go. I love you, like that sort of thing. And as
dad just like takes another swing at a zombie with a baseball bat. And he looks at him. He's like, I'm sorry, and he just fucking runs to grab the wife and bring her towards safety.
And this was like the first moment that I think that this guy was really like, okay, that this is how I'm living now. I'm living for other people now. I'm not living for myself.
Like I'm genuinely very sorry that I have to leave you behind.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a real change for this character, and you can see in this point, and it's really for the rest of the film, he is trying to be as selfless and protective as possible, and it's this is sort of the moment that kind of breaks that shield for him, that shell of kind of selfishness, and it's a really powerful moment. This person sacrificing themselves to save the rest of them. As we should mention, at this point, they've gotten to the door to safety. Behind the door, they're like holding the spirit captain. They're like holding her mouth and like keeping her hostage, and they're like tying knots around the door to like keep it from opening. Like they are actively trying to keep them all from getting inside. So our spirit, our fucking baseball player is like smashing this window. He's trying desperately to like smash it and get inside, and everyone's trying to get in. And so that's happening in the background while best dad is fucking trying to hold this fucking door. And so they run back.
They smash through the door.
They finally smash the door, and they manage to get inside. And dad goes, he grabs the wife. He's like, "Come on, we gotta go." They both take one last look back, and then best dad turns around and he says, "Hey," and he says a name. It's like that's our child's name.
Yeah.
And he says, "Okay, now get the hell out of here."
Mm-hmm.
So they run. The glass smashes. He backs up, and then we get this hero sacrifice where he's just fucking decking zombies, and he's wrestling zombies. And at one point, he picks one up, and he's like holding this zombie like a shield against the rest of the zombies, and he's just wrestling.
Yeah,
just this fucking mountain of zombies. This is physically impossible.
Yeah,
absolutely. The pressure exerted against him is impossible to defend against, but that's where the suspension of disbelief comes in this scene. It's incredible. He's just fucking holding this zombie against them all, and they're like biting, and he's like fucking screaming and pushing everybody back, and they finally reach the end, and then you see him like his eyes go all like fucking blind like the zombies have, and he's got the veins, and he's like turning into a zombie, but he's still fighting. It's and then eventually the horde like kind of crushes him, and that's the end of best dad.
R.I.P. best dad. It was you left too soon.
Truly.
And they make it to the other side, and somehow like they're able to block off the door. I forget exactly what they do. There's two layers of doors, or something like that, or like I can't remember exactly how they do it, but they somehow it's safe.
Safety just in some way.
Somehow it's safe. And they go in, and they're expecting a warm welcome. And
hang on, we forgot to mention that the old woman that was with them doesn't make it as well. She returns. She falls. You see her lock eyes with her friend who's inside, or sorry, no, her friend and the other girl are one of the ones who are like trying to fucking fight the guys holding the door. They're like, let them in. And she sees her friend, and she sees her friend get eaten by the zombies, and she's like, oh my god. And everyone gets in, they close the door, everyone's safe. Safe.
Yeah. It seems to be some sort of sacrifice to like keep the zombies back, like slow the zombies back down.
They both of these characters kind of like sacrifice themselves to allow everybody a little bit more time.
Yeah, just like, and it helps. If they didn't do that, it probably would have turned out like way worse.
Yeah.
So they get into the room, or they get into the car with the rich asshole and all of the other people who are like severely panicking. And it's kind of a prolonged scene, but it essentially boils down to these people wanting these other people out. There's no way that they want them in here.
The gist is like, first of all, Sad Dad punches the businessman in the face.
Yep.
Which I was like, please do that more.
Yep.
And but he knocks him over and he's like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do this?
Yeah.
Why would you do this? Like, you they're all dead. Like, you sacrificed us. Like, why would you do this? And this fucking cowardly piece of shit just squirms out from underneath him, and he's like, they're infected.
Yep.
They're infected. Like, we can't trust them. Like, of course, turns the mob against them, and everybody kind of starts to agree and wants them all to leave, wants them all to get out of here. So they all of our main characters that have fought their way here, they get forced into the vestibule behind this car before the engine. Like, there's the engine, another car, the vestibule, and then the car that they're in. That's like all that's left of the train that doesn't.
Yeah, everything has been destroyed. Like, they need to decouple the zombies. Like, decouple the zombie trains.
Apparently
that's probably
they can't.
a good idea.
Apparently that's a special thing. They at one point they addressed that, and the conductor was like, "It can't be done here. We need special equipment." And it's like, okay, wait, that's all right. I don't know.
Okay,
right?
Whatever it is.
I guess these trains are designed that way, right? But
it happens.
So they lock our main cast in this vestibule, and they go to start to like tie barricades again, like push them up, and then they do something very interesting. They really subvert it. I genuinely, they got me on this one, because the other old woman, the one who is still alive, they keep panning to shots of her with the crowd, implying that she got bit. They play this like, okay, she's bitten, she will eventually turn to a zombie, and that's how it'll fuck things up.
Yeah, she's like lethargic. She's not emoting anything. She's just kind of sitting there like,
oh, what's going on? And you're like, okay, she's sick, like she's infected. But then they do something so brilliant with it, because I genuinely didn't see it coming. She gets up and she walks towards the door, and she sees her friend, and her friend is in this horde of zombies, and she's the only zombie who isn't really angry. And I thought that was so interesting. I'm like, okay, so there is something to this virus. Like, it doesn't affect everybody the same way.
There's like a timing. Like, there's a like the more you have, or the longer you have it, the worse it gets.
Yeah. So you see her friend, who's just kind of sitting there, just kind of looking. She's kind of like, out of it. And this other old woman just sort of says, you idiot. You were always doing this. You're always looking out for other people. Like, she has this very nice moment, this very nice little rant, being so mad at her friend for dying. And then she just turns around and looks at the businessman, all these horrible people, and how they treated the people who just got there. And she just opens the door. She just opens the door and lets the zombies in. And you see the businessman turn around. He's like, ah! And then it just cuts, and you just see the main character's perspective looking at this frosted glass as everybody in that train car is ripped to shreds.
Yep. Almost everybody.
Almost everybody. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I
was brutal.
Loved this.
Yeah. I have many different notes here.
Yeah, please.
Like, they finally get through the door. I have legit bloodlust for that old dude. Old lady gets murked. We have hit the train to Busan, Winchester pub, Shaun of the Dead equivalent. All of the people in this car are assholes.
Yep.
And an especially big FU to the guy at the back of the train screaming at the pregnant wife and Suan, get out. Disgusting POS. Like, he was literally, get out, like a complete jerk. And I have my notes here in all caps as this woman opens the door. And it essentially opens the door, everyone gets gurksed. R.I.P. you bastards. Eat the rich.
Eat the
And now that I'm thinking of it, I think that this movie has a lot to say about class, and I think that there might be some sort of analog that they're trying to draw between like working class kind of poorer people, like the social plights or the social plagues, quote unquote, and the people kind of being like abjectly terrified and just trying to serve themselves as opposed to actually doing anything to help the purpose.
I thought this too because you have this businessman character who is the representative of the social and capital elite,
Mhm.
and then his rhetoric and his platform as an authority figure because of his wealth, um, as his ability to rile up all of these like seemingly upper middle class people into essentially going along with murdering uh several people who are just fighting their way to safety,
Yeah.
fighting their way to any kind of stability.
Yeah, and they're just acting as like honey badger, trying to like get the last scraps of something, like just
Yeah,
absolutely tearing at you, no matter, like just trying to destroy you at any means necessary, as long
yeah.
as they can survive.
I
And I
I
think,
could totally see where you're coming from there with that. That's a great
thank you,
um fucking observation.
thank you,
Yeah.
and I think the end that we'll get to really speaks to that kind of idea. Um, So the conductor is trying to get in contact with. Oh, actually, we should go to the OG crew,
Mm.
in the train, because Suwon and Sad Dad kind of have their apotheosis of their
Oh
relationship.
yes.
Um, so Suwon kind of starts talking to him, or no, he says, "I'm sorry, this is your birthday." Like, happy birthday. I'm sorry that this is your birthday. Um, like this, I know this sucks. This is not a good
Yeah,
situation for you.
yeah.
Um, and she just doesn't really care. And she goes and says, the reason why I couldn't remember the lyrics to the song is because you weren't there. I wanted to sing the song for you and you weren't there. And that's why I forgot the lyrics. I couldn't finish it because I needed to. And
Mhm.
at this point, Sad Dad kind of realizes that neglected daughter to the point of really damaging her emotionally,
Yeah,
and really causing her a lot of harm, and that he needs to fix, or if he has a chance to fix it, he needs to do whatever he
yeah.
can to do so. And he runs off to the bathroom after this, like, pretty
Yeah,
abruptly,
he says, like, I'll never leave you again, like, "I'm sorry, like, I'll never leave you again, like,
and
I'll do better."
immediately goes to the bathroom to
Yes.
call his business associate, like
Yeah,
literally the next thing that he does.
yeah.
And he calls his business associate, and the guy on the other end seems very, very, very
Actually,
guilty.
I think it's important before that to oh, no, 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 you're right. This happens before. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
please keep going.
And he sounds incredibly guilty and like something really bad has happened. And what's essentially revealed in the conversation that isn't going to be articulated in the most, or in the same, emotional way that it was in the film, is that he is essentially at fault for this leak. The company that he works for somehow is involved with the leak that's happened with the company, and
With the
now,
biotech company, the zombie outbreak.
yeah, the leak, and now it's kind of his fault. And this is the moment where he kind of realizes that everything that's bad in his life is a product of his own actions. And there's nobody to blame but himself.
Mhm,
And like, he's might even be responsible for the end of the world, or the end of South Korea, or the deaths
mhm,
of millions and millions of people. So everything is sinking in. And he brilliantly acted,
mhm,
silently, like no words are spoken, he just cries in the
mhm.
bathroom, and it's just fucking heartbreaking,
Yeah,
because the this guy is just like scraping the bottom of the barrel. Like, he's at the very, it's like the moment, like, where the main character, the hero's journey, he throws away his sword, and he goes and does something else, but instead
mhm,
he doesn't have the option to throw away his sword. He has to keep fighting.
right.
um so he kind of gets himself together, seemingly, and he goes back out and he reconvenes Suwon. Um, and I think that did is there anything in between this scene and
No,
the conductor?
no, I
No.
don't think so. I think, right before that, or in that same conversation at the beginning of the conversation, he's like, "Yeah, we're on our way to Busan. Is Busan safe?" And the guy says, "Yeah, Busan, as far as I know, the primary lines of defense are still working.
Right.
Like this city is doing okay." And then they get into that conversation about like, but also like, I think this is our fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
My bad.
that's one note is he's like, yeah, you should be safe when you get there. Um, yeah, and then that's it. I think then we get to the conductor, and I think yeah.
So the conductor is trying to get in contact with Busan, but he can't.
Or
So
nothing.
this whole time you're kind of being told that Busan is a safe place, wherein like everything will be kind of fine. It'll be okay. Nothing like the infection isn't that bad, but it's never confirmed. So you're kind of left in for the entire time, and
Mhm.
it's nerve wracking. Really is nerve wracking.
Mhm.
And the OG squad is okay in the vestibule. They're all kind of just isolated and reflecting.
Yeah, I think the only people left now are Sad Dad, Suwon, the homeless man, the baseball player, the cheerleader, and the pregnant wife. I think and the conductor. I think those are the only characters that are left. Oh, that we know of.
Yeah, exactly. um, so oh yeah, and the sad dad also calls his ex-wife, but he can't get in contact with
Can't
her.
get
So I
And
think that,
she's in Busan, so that's sort of our thing. Like, oh shit, is Busan okay? Like,
yeah,
we haven't been able to contact her the whole movie so far.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the train harshly brakes, and as we come up to the station, I think it's the city before Busan.
No,
Um,
it's he says in the thing, we're on the outskirts of the city.
yeah,
They still have a little bit to go to get into the city proper, but right now they're on like in like the suburbs essentially
yeah, and
of the
there's
city.
shipping containers blocking the train tracks. So
Yeah.
they have to switch trains. They have to get off the train, and there's a great um like the conductor essentially says like we have to get off this train. The
Can
next
I just say the conductor is the real fucking hero of this
He
fucking
really
movie?
is. He
This
really
guy is
is.
the
He's the captain of the
unsung
ship.
hero of this whole movie.
Yep.
Like because at the point like he's in there, he keeps doing these responses, he keeps calling, he keeps going over the intercom. He has no idea if everybody's alive. Like no one has
Yeah.
contacted him in hours at this point. He is assuming that there are still people back there, but he could be the only one left. But he's still his first thought when the train tracks are blocked is like, "Hey, everybody, listen. I don't know if anyone's alive,
Mhm.
but we can't go any further. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get another train running.
Mhm.
Go to this track and get on the train, and I will be there, and we will keep going. If you are still
Yeah.
alive, meet me
Like
there."
go
And then he,
left. Go
yeah,
just move left. Look for trains that are moving essentially.
yeah, and then
Be-
he jumps out of this train and he just fucking starts booking it around the track, running past zombies, just trying to find a train that's working. This guy's a fucking badass.
yeah, and he goes into one train and there's zombies in one of the conductor area, so he has to leave that one. He goes over to the other one, and he finds a working one. And there's a guy that we haven't seen in a little while, hiding in the bathroom. We see everybody get off of the train, essentially all the OG
Yep.
squad. They've
All
heard
of
this
our
message.
characters still.
They've heard this message, and they understand that they have to go and do this. So they go essentially and try and do this. But there's a shot that goes to the bathroom of the car with the old businessman. Lo and behold, him and the conductor, or not the conductor, the
The other,
assistant.
so the last attendant
Yeah,
character, the last attendant who's
yeah.
who is
They
who has sort of been co-opted into the businessman's kind of evil henchman at
yeah,
this point.
pretty
He'll just
much.
do whatever this guy says.
Yeah,
He'll kill somebody if he needs to, right? Like he's
his
just yeah.
concierge to evil,
Yes.
essentially. And they're in the bathroom, and the car has obviously been overrun with zombies at this point, with the horde that came in and the amount of people that were already in there.
Yeah.
And this son of a bitch, he looks out and he's like, okay, there's a lot of zombies out there. There's too many zombies out there. I'm not gonna make it. So he gets the guy to go out and look to see if there are any zombies, knowing that there are already too many zombies out there.
This part is so well acted. Where it's just his eyes. It's just his. You could see it in his face, right? Like the guy's like, "What'd you see? Is the coast clear?" And he looks at him. He's like, "Mm-hmm.
You go
You should
first.
go first." And the guy's like, "Okay." And he starts to peek out of the door, and this guy just fucking pushes him, and he right into a zombie,
Yep.
and it gets instantly, and he just fucking books it out of there.
Instantly gurksed. Instantly he's getting just
Oh
And
man,
so bastard old man starts running.
this fucking guy.
Um,
The um avatar to evil capitalist monarchs.
yeah,
That's what this character is at this point.
the
Yeah,
symbolic representation of capitalism character.
yeah.
And he jumps off the train, and he's trying to get towards a train that's moving. And
Hmm.
as the conductor is getting another train going, he notices, which this is never explained.
This part was weird. This
This
part was
was
a little weird.
very strange and was not explained at all, and I don't
Yeah,
understand it, but it is what it is.
it is what
Um,
it is.
so a flaming train starts hurtling towards
Yeah,
this train yard, going into another train. Like
yeah,
it's going, like, it's head on
yeah.
collision.
This random event, it nothing cues this up. It just happens, and it seems to only serve the purpose of initiating this final climax.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
really the defense of the Winchester.
yeah,
This is like them behind the bar, shooting the zombies, making a DIY Molotov cocktails, like that sort of thing.
yeah.
So this giant flaming train is hurtling towards the train yard, and inevitably crashes into it. It rams into a zombie infested train, and it causes this massive derailment. And as this is happening, the old man comes across the
Oh,
two
no, it happens slightly after. So like
slightly after. Okay.
that happens, and then the train. We have our main characters. We have the baseball duo and the other four characters.
Mhm.
This crash happens, and they get separated. Like a
Yeah.
train car smashes in between them, and now they're separated. So
Mhm.
the baseball duo, they keep going, and everybody else is stuck under this kind of wreckage, and they have to try to escape.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And it seems that the girl and the baseball guy get separated at one point during this escape, and
Mhm.
the girl comes across the old businessman.
No. They're together. They stay
They're
together.
together.
The whole
Oh,
time.
okay.
It
So
happens.
it just
Yeah.
happens, and like he can't do anything about it. But
I remember this whole climax because this whole time I was just like glued to my seat. This
yeah,
climax is pretty fantastic.
it's really intense. And
Yeah.
the old man grabs this girl, just like so carelessly, so thoughtlessly, and throws her into the arms of a zombie, and
Yeah.
she gets destroyed. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's done. She is dead now.
Yeah.
And like this was really interesting, like sacrificing the youth for the
Yeah.
older classes
To
self-preservation.
survive.
Yeah, just kind
I
of like last moments of survival for the elite class, like trying
Yeah.
to just push everybody out there, conscribe the youth into the war.
Yeah.
Just get everybody out there.
Yeah.
The fucking Germans putting 13-year-olds into like military planes, like that sort
Yeah.
of shit. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if we're reading too much into it, but I don't care. That's what it represented to me.
I don't know. I think that in foreign cinema, a lot of the time you can assume that there's way more nuance happening within the film. I feel especially within South Korean film, because it's such a prominent subject within
Yeah.
a lot of the films, like class struggles,
Classist struggle seems to be a lot. Yeah, definitely a theme in a lot of South Korean cinema, for
which
sure.
I really respect. It's a worthwhile topic.
Yeah.
Um,
But
so
yeah, this part really got me because the baseball guy's trying to get this door open. She's behind him. Then behind them, the framing of this shot's really excellent. Like he's here, she's here, and then dead down the middle, we see the door open. The fucking businessman jumps out. There's like two zombies behind him. He runs up in the middle of them, grabs her, throws her, pushes the other guy, and then he just effortlessly opens the door and gets out. And then she gets bit. Baseball guy knocks those two zombies out, and then he just kind of sits there and he just kind of holds her, and he just says how sorry he is for not going out with her when she asked. And then he holds her there and cries until she turns into a zombie and kills him.
Yeah.
And it was like broke my heart.
It was really
oh my God,
heartbreaking. Yeah, it was very sad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was harsh. Suicide by zombie is a really, you want to make a statement. You're Jesus Christ, you must really feel
Yeah, that part really fucking hurt me a lot.
Yeah. And it like cuts to black, and everybody is kind of otherwise presumably dead. Like I literally thought that everybody else had died in the crash. Like I didn't see them die, but it was just like such a chaotic scene that it's hard not to believe that everybody in that vicinity died. But Suwon is waking up Sad Dad, like pounding on his chest kind of thing, screaming at him. And it turns out that a giant train is suspended above them that's filled with zombies pressed up against the very cool.
So
very
so
cool set piece. Very, very cool. And it's like kind of like coming down on them a little bit. So they're like they're panicked. They're trying to get out. And they eventually find an exit that they could possibly use.
There's just enough space for them to crawl through. Yeah,
one or two of them get out. I forget which one or two get out of the actual little space. I think the pregnant woman, and then a piece of metal falls into that space. So they have to pull it out. Essentially, they have to yank out this huge chunk of metal that's blocking their only pathway out of this hellacious situation. Yeah, and you can see the glass cracking on the train cars as well, which is especially scary. They find out another way to, like, on the other end of the set piece to like get them out. And I think Suwon starts crawling out, and everybody starts getting out. And the homeless man, he notices that some of the zombies have cracked through the window, and some of the windows are cracking.
They're crawling, and they're starting to chase after them from the opposite side.
Yeah, exactly. So he sacrifices himself, and this was a touching moment. This was a really touching moment because he understands that Suwon had like put herself in jeopardy like many times to save this guy, and Sad Dad had put himself in jeopardy many times to save this guy. He stepped on the can. He got the husband killed. That sort of thing. So I think that there was a sense of moral responsibility for the homeless guy. And it's interesting that he's never given a name. Everybody else is given a name, but he's never given a name. Yeah. He's just a like plot integral homeless person who doesn't matter within the grander scope of the universe. But that speaks to the social commentary, the class-based social commentary.
Right.
So
these people that exist but are paid no mind by the larger systems at place.
The invisible population.
Yeah, exactly.
There's actually, just as a small thing, like homeless people like are studied as the most victimized like people in the world, and they
absolutely believe that.
I read during my research I was doing research on homeless encampments in Toronto's ravines. We went to the Don Valley and like found a bunch of them and did a lot of research on Toronto, and I came across the sentence the ultimate perpetual state of victimization is homelessness. I was like, wow, that's not an exaggeration. That's absolute. And this guy is paid no mind, but without his participation, I think that the entire movie would have gone an entirely different way. Like, and I mean, that's just kind of a baseline sentence saying, like, if Hitler didn't exist, cultural would be way different. But at the same time, it happened, and I think that his character was interesting. The fact that he wasn't given a name or personified past just being kind of a derelict, like, quote unquote, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he sacrifices himself to save a pregnant wife. Yeah, Suwon, and the train that they're hiding under collapses, crushes the homeless dude, presumably hundreds of zombies. Yeah, and I appreciated the fact that crushed him, because I'm happier that the homeless man does not exist in a state of zombie living for the rest of his life.
Hopefully he died very fast.
Yeah, I think that it would probably be a pretty quick and swift death.
Yeah, ideally.
So, I think we actually we missed a little part here.
Do we miss
there's the train conductor. He gets to the new train, and he gets it running. and he starts it running, and he sees that the bastard old man
No, that's right after this.
That's right after. Oh,
That's
okay.
right after this because
Okay.
they get out, they escape, and then it's them. It's that scene where you're about to
Okay.
talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were the like OG crew essentially makes their way out, and they
The
make
only
their way
people
out
left are
safe.
Sad Dad, Sue-Ann, and the pregnant woman. Those are the
Yeah.
only characters who are left at this
Exactly.
point.
Yeah. So that's the OG squad at this point, liquidated down to its very foundations. And yeah, it's like the end of the Walking Dead season 1, like the video game. Like just there's like 3 characters left. You start off with like 15, 20.
Yeah.
And so they get on the train, and that's fine. But the conductor. Wait, no,
no,
they don't get on the train yet. No, sorry. So the scene that we're about to talk about, I know where we're at.
Yeah.
So the conductor is in the cabin, and he sees the bastard old man running from the murder of the baseball girl, cheerleader, running away from wherever he was managed to escape from, and he trips and obviously cracks his ankle. Like you can see, it's obvious. Like you see that it actually happens. He's not just faking it to like get onto the train. Like he actually like breaks his ankle probably.
Yeah.
And the conductor, the staunch ethicist he is,
oh my god, yeah, absolutely,
is so badass that he thought that this would work, and he could have done so much more. He would have lived if he didn't. Spoilers.
Try to save this guy. I know. Yeah.
But he jumps off, and essentially, the guy gets up and like throws him down as he's trying to help him up.
Yeah.
Like he tries to help him up by his shoulder, and he just kind of like pushes him out of the way and starts running towards the train.
Yeah, limping very quickly back towards the train until eventually getting on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the conductor, R.I.P., the true hero of the story, gets gurksed real hard. Yeah. Unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
And
so this is now 3 people that this businessman has directly led to the death of.
Yeah.
And then if maybe a dozen other people that he indirectly led to the death of.
Yeah, but it was a pretty significant scramble that he had gotten out of, and there were quite a few zombies that were actually on top of him. So we don't know exactly what has happened to him just yet. So eventually, now we're at where the OG crew gets onto the train. We eventually catch up. They get or the husband. I think that this is notable. The husband gets the wife and the daughter onto the train before he gets on himself, which is just another note to his own character growth. Like he's growing past this kind of selfish, self-centered person, which I like the notes that aren't super ham-fisted. Like it's not like, oh, will he give bread to the starving person? A gets you 10 points on the evil side. B gives you 20 points on the good side, like that sort of thing. Fucking bullshit morality system, that kind of stuff.
Simplistic black and white morality systems and like Bethesda or not Bethesda, Dragon Age games.
Yeah, exactly, like Fallout and all that shit.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so glad that trend is over. Holy shit, so glad. So they sprint onto the train. They get there, and sorry, what was that?
Time will remember that.
Yeah, exactly. They get on the train, and the zombies start grabbing onto the train and dragging behind it, which I think is the coolest thing in the movie in terms of set pieces.
This note was prevalent for the whole movie, but this was the point that made me write it, where I was like, kudos to these fucking stunt performers.
Yeah,
because half of this is I think looks very real. Half of it's CGI, but there were at least maybe 10 or 15 people just like actively dogpiling on top of each other, clinging onto this train that I don't think is probably moving when they filmed it. I think that's probably green screen, but I would be interested to find out because the stunt performance movie are insane.
Whatever it was, like they did a fucking great job. Like I have no idea how they did it, but I'm legitimately interested in seeing the behind the scenes stuff for this movie, because I have a feeling it's something like that movie The Raid. Like The Raid had like a really cool the Filipino movie, I think it was.
Yes. Indonesia, I think it was.
Indonesia, okay. It had like some really cool production in it, where they were passing the camera through cars and all this stuff, moving cars. Like I feel
Yeah.
like this is the kind of movie that has a similar
I'm
kind of production story.
I'm so happy that Iko Uwais, the main character from The Raid, or the main actor from The Raid, I'm so happy that he's getting like tons of work now because
Yeah.
he's fucking amazing.
I haven't seen it. I've only seen the
You haven't
production
seen The Raid?
stuff. No, but that would be something
We're
cool
watching it.
that we would cover. I
We're
would
watching
like to cover that. We
it.
can
I would love
start.
to cover more martial art movies. I would love to cover more martial art films for the channel. Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of having an off topic or an off camera discussion here, an off live discussion, but I feel like a Hong Kong movie week, like
Yeah.
we did like a Hong Kong movie every once every month or something like
Yeah,
that.
proper action cinema, absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the raid? The raid.
The Raid. Yeah.
So we are at pretty much the like
Yeah.
amount of the film. And there's a really powerful scene that's coming up here. That I think like I didn't think of like the class aspect of this until I was kind of reading over my notes as we're talking. And the next scene, now that everybody like they break free of the zombies, obviously the giant zombie dog pile is breaks free.
Yeah.
After a lot of effort.
Sad Dad gets down, he just starts to like kick them off, and he's kind of like
The
fighting
hands
these
and
off
shit.
until eventually he manages to knock enough off that it kind of chain links into them falling off the train.
Yeah, exactly. And you look into the conductor's cabin, and it looks like there's a zombie there, and we know that the person who's at the front of the conductor's cabin is the bastard old man.
Yeah.
So he notices that the other people are there, and this is kind of the best example of how this disease works. Like it's a degradation of mental state as opposed to like a binary kind of a binary condition. And the old man notices the other people, and he starts kind of twitching, and you're like, oh, he's a zombie, he's going to come out and attack them. But he comes out, and it really subverts the expectations here, because
This is also the first time a zombie has opened a door.
Yeah, and you're really expecting like that you have this bloodlust for this person, like you want this person to get got after all of the carnage that he has directly caused. You want him to get got. And he comes out of the cabin and starts walking along the side of the train and starts begging Sad Dad to bring him home to his mom in Busan. All he wants to do is go home to his mom. He just wants to see his mom. And he starts crying. He's like just sobbing. And he starts saying like, I live in Busan, like please help me. And Sad Dad, kind of like interesting callback to the scene where he punches him. He says, you're infected. And he looks at his hands. Hands are all like veiny. All of his are varicose. And like vision is probably going because his eyes are all like dead and
all cloudy. And yeah.
And he just starts crying. And it's interesting because this guy is like obviously an antagonist within this film. And you're kind of hoping that the same callousness will be applied to him. But I think that that's to a point. I think that that's to like a specific point, saying that the bloodlust against, like, he is a victim of his own impulses as well. Like the zombies are victims of their own impulse, and so is he. And he has completely sacrificed his moral positioning, whatever they might have been beforehand, just to survive. And I guess this might have something to like revolutionary thought, like the working class kind of revolting against the dominant elites, like, and the fear that kind of thing stokes. And at the end of the day, this guy is still a guy, and he's a hyper capitalist asshole POS, but he's still a person. He's still a human being, and there are still motivations to his action. It's not
off with the head of Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Like and the road to hell is paved with good intentions, But at the same time, you have to consider the fact that this person is a real person, and despite all of the evil that they produced, they were still a person once. Even if that person has been completely shrouded by their actions in the present. And I think that this specific kind of interaction is really, really artfully done, and I think that it has a lot. I think that it just has something to say about class and the ways in which the working class kind of demonize, like instead of lionizing, demonizing the kind of elites, and disassociating them from any sort of human behavior because they're within that class, wherein it's the opposite. That human behavior might be elevated to its nth degree because they have more to lose, or they have less experience dealing with strife.
Yeah, the cruelty on display from elites to the poor is out of fear and not malevolence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's out of fear of loss of their own position,
a knowing of just the fragility of what they hold.
Yeah,
that and my billions are not worth anything if the mob comes to my door.
Yeah, and it reminds me of that couple in St. Louis with the guns on their front lawn.
I just wanted to grill. You're talking about that guy?
Is that what he said?
I just I know the couple you're talking about. I just wanted to grill. That was the quote. I just wanted to grill.
Those people, man, like that sort of thing, like they're scared. They understand that they're part of the hegemonic class. They're part of the class that is actively suppressing the black the people of color and the othered individuals within their specific urban context. And it's just fascinating to see that kind of that fully explored within a kind of pop culture realm, and the genre tropes attached to it, thing like that. It's definitely one of the most intelligent zombie movies that I've seen by a good margin.
I would absolutely agree with that on the note of zombie films. Absolutely, it's one of the. I mean, every good zombie film is more about social commentary than it is about just trying to provide entertainment.
Yeah, just a slasher film.
This is definitely one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah. So this is the last story beat essentially. We're at the denouement. We're gonna have sad dad try and get the old bastard zombie man off of the train because he's now fully turned. He's like, okay, the switch has been flipped, and then he's gonna try to kill everybody. Yeah. So this is just end game. We have to get rid of this son of a bitch. So sad dad takes the lead. He starts fighting him. It's an extended struggle. And at one point he gets bit in the hand. Just like the husband that died previous to him. And he kind of understands and accepts pretty immediately that this is what happened and this is how it's going to go, and that he probably deserves this. And kind of ingeniously, he grabs a chain, wraps it around his.
I love
somehow.
This. Yeah.
And then he grabs the old bastard man and hugs him and jumps off of the train. And then he like bungees himself by his pelvis train with the chain, and he fucking climbs back up, and then he says his goodbyes.
Yeah. This reminded me a lot of him grabbing the guy and then throwing them both off himself and the guy off the train. Reminded me a lot. Did you see Deadpool 2?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, there's this excellent shot in it where somebody does something horrible to Wade Wilson, to Deadpool, and you're like, oh, he's gonna fucking kill this guy. He catches up to him, and it's in the rain, and he holds the guy, and he hugs him, and then he pulls them both into the path of an ambulance, and it's fucking amazing.
That's fantastic.
You should watch Deadpool 2, dude. It's a fantastic sequel.
Is it better than the first one?
Oh, in my opinion, I loved it way more than the first one.
That's good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Sorry, folks. Back. So we are we're at the end of this.
Yeah.
They're on the train, and he throws off the old bastard man.
Mhm.
And that you're saying that
Oh,
and
yeah.
that there's
Yeah.
a scene that parallels that very well.
Yeah.
And Suwon is crying pretty hard. She knows exactly what's gonna happen. Bad moment.
Hmm.
And this is a mega sad dad moment.
Yeah. Mega sad that moment.
Yeah, really crying very hard when I writing this. There's a lot
Yeah.
of misspelled words. And he essentially just says like, "This is how you use the train." He gives her instructions on how to operate the train, and says, "This is it." He closes the door, tells the pregnant lady, "Don't let her out. Not let her out. I'm going. This is not going to be good to see." He sits against the back of the train, and you can kind of see him like turning, know that this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's kind of having a flashback and seeing him holding Suwon as like a little baby, and this is his happiest. And he's smiling and he's laughing, and the music kind of swells up, and Suwon's scream kind of fades out into the distance, and he's just smiling. You could see her like scream. So, and yeah, he gets up and essentially the day
Yep.
commits suicide by jumping off the back of the train.
Excellent shot. You don't see it, but you see this beautiful shot of it's just in shadows. It's just the shadow of the train and him standing on the edge, and then you just see him just kind of just fall off and just kind of ends in this sort of it gives way to the silence as he just sort of the shadow of him falls off the train.
Yeah,
And it's a wonderful shot. Yeah.
and yeah, the train keeps going, and they reach the end of the,
Mm-hmm.
or they reach the end of the end of the tracks where it's being blocked off. It looks like some sort of
That's been
and
overrun. Like everybody looks
yeah,
dead, looks destroyed. You're like,
everything's
oh
on
shit.
fire. Everything
Yeah.
is just burning, and it's not a good scene. So we're assuming that Busan has not held up. The fortifications have not held up.
Yeah.
And as the daughter and the pregnant wife, they get off the train.
Seong Kyung is the name of the character. I want to get it wrong. Get it right just for the end here.
At least once.
Yeah.
And they start walking down this really long and dark tunnel. They don't know what's at the end. They don't know what's happening. And they walk, and it goes off to a shot of a gun at the end of the tunnel, and it's a sniper rifle. It's a first gun that we've seen in the entire movie, which is very interesting. And they're looking at the two tunnel walking down. They have them in their scope. They're asking like, can we confirm if this is a zombie or not? Asking the captain.
Yeah.
And the captain says like, make sure like visualize, get a visual idea. And they're like, we can't get a visual. It's too dark. Have the sniper. You can see through the sniper scope. You can't check. You can't see. And they ask
my only note is put some fucking floodlights up in the tunnel, my dudes.
Yeah, for real.
Flash a light down there. Get some work lights or something, right?
Yeah, just flash one small light, and if they react, then shoot them. There you go.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
So the captain instructs the guy to shoot them, kill them. You're like, oh god.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, they're gonna fucking Stephen King the mist me right now. They're gonna fucking mist us right at the end of the movie.
Yep, it was all for naught. We got so far, and in the end, it didn't even matter.
Yeah.
And Suwon all of a sudden starts singing the song that singing in the recital the Aloha Oe.
Yeah, Aloha Oe. She starts to he's right about to shoot. It's like the classic shot of like the finger slowly pressing on the trigger, and then we just hear this sort of soft echoing voice come down from the tunnel of her singing, and then the spotter next to the sniper is just like, oh fuck, humans, like we got people, get out there. And then the Marines the Marines just kind of like swarm into the tunnel to go rescue them. And
Yep, it got like 30, 40 all going to rescue them, and that's the end.
Yeah.
That's the last shot.
The last shot is it kind of zooming in on Soo Young's face as she keeps singing, and she's just kind of singing and crying, and then it just kind of fades to black on her, and that's the end of the film. And I remember right at the end, I was like, I think my last note here is, wow, love this, holy smokes.
I really fucking
bittersweet ending for sure.
I really loved it. It was like they used death appropriately. I think they used it sparingly in terms of like at least the main characters. The pacing of it was incredible. The acting was fantastic.
Across the board, really good.
The writing made me legitimately laugh at several different points, and I think that everybody should
watch Train to Busan. It's I can't recommend this enough.
Including thoughts, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I recommend this and Parasite if you want to get a double dose of incredibly well-made social commentary filmmaking.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if we're the first to politicize Busan.
Highly doubt it, but I'll own it if we are. If we are,
let's just pretend.
Yeah,
I haven't listened to any other podcasts on the subject, so let's just pretend.
Yeah. I will look it up on YouTube and then ignore whatever I see that doesn't confirm that.
Exactly. Good old confirmation. But yeah, folks, I think that is the end of the episode here.
Yeah.
I don't have any more concluding thoughts that I haven't said. Go out and see it, man.
Really. Yeah.
Go out and see it.
Again, you can find it on Amazon Prime Video streaming right now. It is also, you can also get on YouTube, but like Tony said, not great quality. Not a recommendation for spending the money. Yeah.
I just do Amazon Prime. Like you can get a trial of it for 30 days on do whatever you want. But yeah, it's definitely worth watching. There are many ways to get it. Yeah, I highly recommend Train to Busan.
Yeah.
I give it 5 bags of popcorn. 5 bags of popcorn and 1,500 cups of soda.
I give it 2 bags of nibs and an iced tea, a large iced tea.
That's great. That's great. That's diabetes in a 90-minute setting.
Yeah, that's a quality snack. So you know what? Actually, you know what? I take it back. 2 bags of nibs, 1 bags of junior mints, and a large iced tea.
I'm down for that. That sounds like a good snack.
Yeah, every time I rate anything that we watch, I'm gonna just do a random combination of snacks, I think.
Hey man, that's the On Cinema rating system. I love it. I'm on board with it. I'm on board with it. All right, man. Well, it's been great. We will discuss what we want to cover next week in the coming days. Yeah. And it's been great chatting. It's been great going over this fantastic movie with you. And thank you for listening, everybody. We really appreciate you sticking around. If you are listening to this whole thing, you are our favorite kind of listener.
You are our favorite person. And if you made it this far, hello. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You are our friends.
Yeah.
Check out Sam on Twitch. Atlas Hugs.
Atlas Hugs, all one word, no caps. Atlas Hugs.
All one word. He's got a very good schedule. I'm working on getting my streaming schedule back up to snuff, but right now his stream is the best stream on Twitch. So you best head over there ASAP.
That's a really good endorsement. You should listen to him.
That is. You can put that on your profile. Best Twitch stream on Twitch.
I'll do that in my header. I'll quote you as one of my endorsements. Yeah.
There you go. Make sure to put the like can sleeves, sort of.
Yeah. And I'll put a picture of Emil from as your like representation picture. Yeah.
Of course, we got our boy right back here. Always with me. All right. I'll see you. I'll talk to you soon, man. And I will see you guys next time on Videodrones.
Be safe. Be good.
Be safe. Okay. Night, bud. Peace.
Peace, buddy.